Preface Prayer. May the benign Lord Vinayaka protect this work on translating Bhagavad Gita to infinite grace shower on all of us, helping us in whatever measure to make inward progress. May the grace of Shiva protect this work on yoga, the ultimate divinity remaining manifest and formless at same go. Homages are due to Shiva, the personage of yogic peace. I pray to him for strength to complete this work with ease. I pray the divine Lord Krishna to bless this work. He is the divine warrior to drive out the forces of dark. Krishna is a kid, playboy and the most mature yogi. I prostrate before him and place this work and myself as Yagna's ghee. Dear friends, I have again started a childish venture. Clearly it is much beyond my spiritual stature. I have started translating the Bhagavad Gita, from Tamil to English as an exercise vice versa. I know that Gita is a divine domain. I know how limited my spiritual attainment does remain. As a daring kid I have again taken up this work. And you should not be surprised when it is from a person having mental hiccup. I find that translation between Tamil and English is easier, for the original text in Sanskrit for my little brain was messier. I request you all to bear with my impertinence, take to the taste of Gita in its divine essence. True poem reveals just the required content. It need not be read for beauty or any other intent. Poetry has somehow started its prattles. When it becomes unbearable, I record it as it speedily throttles. Gita is not a textbook for reading and learning. It is a workbook for practicing and following. Read it whenever the mind is turbulent. Practice the path of yoga for life spiritually opulent. Yoga is not about sitting to make sense. In everyday work by memory of God it shines. Practice the path of desireless action. However little the progress, it leads to divine perfection. 1. The despondency of Arjuna. Dhritarashtra. What is happening in Kurukshetra battleground, where my sons have gone with battle intentions profound, and the sons of my brother Pandu combined, state the status of the battle as you find. Sanjaya. Duryodhana looked at the army of the Pandavis, approached Drona the teacher with benign face, offered his respects to his guru on par with God. To speak to his guru, he drew near and respectfully stood. Take a look at the great Pandava army. O greatest of teachers, kindly hear me. Great prince of Panchala, who is your disciple? The furious army protected by Drishtadyumna seems unstoppable. Brave fighters equaling Bhima and Arjuna, others well versed in fighting from car, making enemies to straw. Warriors like Yudhimna, Radha and Drupada, who fight with valor and copious blood from enemies draw. Valorous Drishtakathu, Sekathanya of terrible vigor, the brave king of Kashi who fights with rigor. Purujith, the father of Kunti Devi, Sabir the great, who even the kings envy. Yadamanyu, the powerful warrior. Uttamuja of prowess in battle has no barrier. The sons of Subhadra and Draupadi, all of whom are talented and battle ready. O twice-born guru of great power and prowess, I shall enumerate the best of our fighters without a miss. Kindly listen to the names of the warriors. I shall recite all the names for your benign ears. Yourself. The glorious one, Bhishma, Karna and, the warrior who always earns victory, Kruba the grand, Asvatama, Vakana and many other warriors, and Samadatta and Jayatradha whom everyone fears. Many other brave and valiant persons, making the battlefield a scene of terrifying visions. There are warriors who use varied and strange array of weapons, all are ready on my behalf to enter the heavens. The army protected by Bhishma stands boundless, as if an ocean has arisen and its men are countless. The army protected by Bhima is well bounded, and its men are positioned well and well defended. By all means and from all directions, protecting the grandsire Bhishma is of importance. All of you fight by understanding the enemy strategies, and help Bhishma to win the battle with ease. Bhishma sounded his conch shell like a lion. It was terrifying to astound many a battalion. To appease the mind of Duryodhana possessed of greed, he started the battle with overwhelming speed. Conches, drums, kettles and horns started to blare in unison, prompting all to take battle-ready positions. In the minds of the warriors, these induced an upbeat mood, and brought each one of them to fighting mode. In a powerful car yoked with a white horse, the husband of the goddess of wealth Lord Krishna seated was, along with victorious Arjuna of valor and prowess. Both of them blew their conches to reverberate with blaring excess. The divine conch shell named Panchajanya was terribly blown by Lord Krishna the Harishakesha. Arjuna blew his Devadatta conch. Bhima blew Vrakothara, which sounded as if there was an avalanche. The righteous person Dharma Yudhishthira also sounded, the conch shell Anandhavajaya, which everywhere resounded. Nakula and Sahadeva blew with uplifted hawkers, Sakasha and Manipushpaka, which were their respective conches. The great king of Kashi nation, Sikandi adept car fighter and warrior brazen, Drishtadyumna, the king of Radha were also visible, along with the invincible Satyagi of war deeds terrible. Drupada, the king of Panchala nation, all sons of Draupadi conjoined in unison. Subhadra's son the brave warrior Abhimanyu, blew their conch shells and gave the war a starting cue. The blaring sounds of the conch shells pierced through the hearts of Dhritarashtra's sons by huge yells. To reverberate through the skies and earth, all the sounds were uproarious as if inviting death. Arjuna, who had Hanuman as his flag, got ready to release his arrows without any lag. Looking at the evil faces of Dhritarashtra's sons, he spoke the following to Lord Krishna with reverence. Please park the car between the two armies, to see whosoever ventured the evil-minded Duryodhana to appease, so that I might find it easy. To identify those people seeking unjust war crazy. To find out who we have to fight with, and to survey whosoever took to the evil path. Before the injuries and killings start, let me their wholesome form take a look at. Duryodhana stands as the embodiment of evil. I wish to see those who had taken this terrible role, and have dared to support that man of a devil. I park our chariot between the armies which are battle ready in measure full. As requested by Arjuna, who could control his sleep, with a reverence to Lord Krishna of level very deep, Krishna drove the car between the armies, parked it in such a way no view would Arjuna miss. With Bhishma, Drona and many dignitaries, warriors and kings arrayed as this battle's votaries, Lord Krishna told Arjuna to take a look at the persons gathered to kill him with evil mind bent to crook. Arjuna saw a gathering of great persons, teachers, dignitaries, fathers and sons, friends from childhood, relatives, brothers, kids, grandsons, family friends and many others. Kunti's son Arjuna was confused at what he saw, his mind was afflicted by sadness raw, his mind was inclined at the well-being of relatives and friends, he uttered the following words to Lord Krishna with visible laments. O Krishna, behold the gathering in front of me, consisting of friends, relatives and venerable ones tumbling like a sea. All of them have gathered seeking war, my tongue goes dry, my feet tremble and my vision does mar. My body shudders and trembles, my hair stands on end and goosebumps it resembles. My bow candipa slips from my hand, a burning sensation is scorching my skin any measure beyond. It is not possible for me to stand this confusion, it makes my mind dizzy and brings perspiration. My mind and heart tremble and evil omens are seen. O, slayer of the demon Kesi, please listen with attention keen. What good is gained after killing kith and kin? I do not wish to gain the golden city thus I win. I do not like the elation of such victory. O Krishna, save me from sins, I feel sorry. Well-being of whosoever we need to protect, those exact persons are standing on the opposite side. What happiness will the lands and cities offer? Advise me on which way I should prefer. Teachers, fathers, sons and grandsons, uncles, fathers-in-law, friends and all other persons, stand in a race to lay down their lives in the urge to win, killing them is what else but the purest sin. All of them have gathered relinquishing life and wealth, is it not wrong if I treat them in battle to death? Is it right to kill them all for my life? O, King of the worlds, speak to provide me relief. How can I battle with such noble persons? It is better to lose everything than kill these noble ones. I would not fight them for all the 3 worlds of great merit, for this puny earth I would not fight. Killing these persons is a heinous crime to relations. If I kill the sons of Dhritarashtra and friends, is it anything other than the purest evil? Can I live happily after committing such slaughter at free will? Although these petty-minded persons do evil out of greed, to kill all the kith and kin in myriad, they have taken to rejoicing in this misdeed, gathered here for killing, not recognizing the evil nature of the deed. Why should we, the good-natured ones, resort to violence like those ruffians? Is it correct to resort to killing for a family feud? Please show me the right way out of this confusion if you could. If family traditions are destroyed, unspoken evils will begin to loom large with pride. All that is good will diminish and all that is bad will flourish. Is there any good that these killings could nourish? Progenies would fall if family falls, confusions will begin to rule. When the righteous ways are gone, what good flourish can? Evils will grow when young ones are bad, it would destroy the oppressed, under conditions sad. Without protecting the parents and respectable ones, families would become bunches of evil persons. When social degradation is uncontrollable, is it possible that any good plans would be actionable? How will good families grow? Only evil tendencies in begin to flow. Please listen, O Lord of the world, people who plan to enact bad acts out of greed, will get caught in the direst hell. Are my words not correct, Janardana, please tell. It is as if a wonder of wonders, that for an evil act everyone so gathers, deluded by greed to rule the land, all of us seem to have forgotten the moral strand. Without any arms and silently I beheld, if Dhritarashtra's sons me killed, I would accept that heinous act, but to subsist in mere evil, I shall not fight. Sanjaya. Speaking of right and wrong amid the battleground, Arjuna allowed his bow and arrow to fall down unconcerned. Overcome by sadness and remorse, Arjuna sat down on the car seat without fighting force. 2. Jnana Yoga. Arjuna was afflicted by extreme distress. Krishna looked at Arjuna's anguish which was limitless. Aiming to alleviate the unending sadness, uttered the following words of affection in earnest. Krishna. Why are you distressed by improper thoughts? Why does your mind fill up with unwanted blots? If you follow the path against growth, your life on earth will not move forth. Give up your fickleness and rise to face things. Reeling in inaction gives fool's own tidings. Give up the cowardice which debases the mind. Rise up to destroy the enemies before you aligned. Arjuna. O Madhusudana, the slayer of the Asura named Madhu, when my teacher Drona and scion Bhishma stand in view, it is befitting that I pay obeisance and do worship. Is it correct to venture to kill them by mischief? Is it worthy of a living to kill the great ones and teachers? It is better to live by begging than to live the life of tainted creatures. If I kill them desiring to enjoy reigning this world, it is akin to eating food soaked in their blood. Is it correct of us to kill them in ill will? Is it admissible if we allow them us to kill? The sons of Dhritarashtra are gathered for the sake of harm. Will our lives flourish after killing all of them? My mind is uncertain and my duty is forgotten. I have become deluded. My mind is shivering like a winded lantern. Accept me as a disciple of yours. I have taken refuge. Show me the right course. This distress is burning me like a fire. I do not know how to thwart it and stop it rising higher. If I win and begin to rule like a demigod, in my deluded mind, no solace I find could. Declaring that he would not fight, Arjuna stood with wet eyes and mind contrite. He stood without any action, words or steadiness. Pathetic was state of Arjuna who normally caused his enemies giddiness. Krishna stood between the armies with cool poise. He showed smiling face and kindness of heart to offer solace. He touched the shoulder of Arjuna lost in affliction, and stated the following words to indicate the right direction. Krishna. You speak like a wise man and cry like a child. You bemoan about those who are unworthy and wild. The truly learned person never is worried about the living persons or the ones who are dead. There was no time I did not exist, nor was there a time any of these kings and you did not subsist. All of us will live in all future days throughout. This is the final and ultimate fact. All the lives embodied on this earth experience old age and death after the youth. Similar to the changes occurring all around, the bodies perish but the Atman will all changes withstand. Just as the summer and winter alternate every year, happiness and sadness will alternately appear. Changes experienced by senses are transient. Cherish the virtues and avoid heart's lament. With the heart unaffected by happiness and sadness, keeping the mind balanced in evenness, those who maintain the heart without vacillations, tread the path to reach true liberation. Non-existent objects have no presence, existing objects are at no time absent. I shall explain to you the truthful essence, indicated by those who knew the difference between existence and non-existence. It is not possible to destroy or divide, in build power which in each body does reside. It is not possible to destroy the imperishable, in a soul, the Atman, is free of worldly trouble. Atman remains imperishable, immeasurable and eternal. Alterations might occur to the body it does dwell. Without bemoaning the perishable body, wither out the rights and wrongs and get battle ready. Confused persons abusively prattle that condescending Atman is destroyed by body's death. Persons of right discrimination understand that the notion, Atman is the killer and the same is killed a just human delusion. Atman remains without origin and destruction. Appearance and disappearance of Atman are mind's own delusion. Since Atman is beyond birth and death happening in cycles, stable it remains even after the body falls. Those who know that the Atman is indestructible, the origin of which is also unknowable. Atman is always unchanging and ever effulgent in full, neither does kill nor does it cause others to kill. Just as a person puts on new apparel, joyfully removing the old one with dirty frill, Atman changes to another body, attributed as the death and birth by the confused body. Weapons do not split up the Atman, washing in water wets not the eternal one, fire does not fry the fear-free Atman, flow of air dries it not, never need you bemoan. The Atman remains undivided and insoluble, threats of burning and watery wetting are ideas untenable. Occupying all space unaltered by events, motionless and eternal in nature the Atman remains. Invisible to the eyes, unthinkable to the mind, it remains unaltered and complete in all aspects refined. Learn this legend as the ultimate truth. Lamenting is foolish, stop your weeping and do not loath. Even if you choose not to believe my words, believing that every day the Atman is destroyed like common goods, weeping will not alter the course, wield your weapons and fight with force. Anyone born here is certain to meet death, all the ones dead are on the path to new birth. Do not get confused on what is inevitable, dare to fulfill the duty which is divinity's own call. Origin of species is unknown to anyone, off they manifest and have a lot of fun. In the end also no one knows their status after annihilation. What is the use of your weeping and lamentation? It is exciting to look at the Atman, in talking about it one gets the divine fun. Seeking the Atman is also sweet, sinners do not get to know the Atman even if you entreat. The Atman resides in each and every body, transcendental Atman is not destroyed and is always steady. It is never possible to annihilate the Atman, in no way you need to worry about destroying bodies of these men. Since protecting righteousness is your basic duty, staying away from this war poses great difficulty. Fighting in war is delightful to your soul, feigning to stay away will make you look like a fool. Dying or living this war brings great fame, daring warriors accept this war as a delightful game. When a righteous war openly invites, what is the point in staying back, everyone fights. Suppose you run away from this righteous war, scions will shun you as a coward to make you sad. You will lose all respect as a great warrior, your action will be adjudged cowardice and you a betrayer. People will begin to ill-treat you, petty and venomous words will they start to spew. It is worse than death for a person of honor, if one were to suffer in this insulting manner. The brave men who were praising your valor, will begin to treat you as a cowardly ruler. They would abuse you with arrogant words, whenever they gather, their words will hit you worse than swords. Your mind will wallow in despondent thoughts, your enemies who could not tackle your arrow darts, will begin to speak ill of you on all occasions, you will suffer a life of unending tribulations. Defeated in battle you would reach the heaven, you will rule the world if victory you earn. Since this war yields good whatever the result, bravely fight without any mental tumult. Without seeking happiness or sadness, leaving aside victory or defeat, fight in earnest. Simply fight for the sake of fighting, no sin will you be inflicting. I have been revealing the wisdom of Sankhya, hereafter I shall elucidate the path of yoga. You may easily avoid the vicious cycles, of causes and consequences resulting in entangles. The divine path of yoga has no flaws. Yoga will save from dangers and fearful duress. Yoga will grant flourishing mindset, it will work its magic even if practiced little bit. Singular are the thoughts of those in yogic path, singular is the motive they hold for every act, digresses have branching thoughts. They are not agile, their mind is fragile, the journey is on meandering vicious paths. The petty-minded penance for attaining the heaven, they consider the Vedic ritual as the ultimate haven. Vedic rituals are adequate to provide happiness, power, comfort, riches to the worldly minded. People who reckon that sensuality is finality, pitifully bound by karma and drawn to heavenly jollity, fetter in life and know no other ethics or rules, fully mired are they in the world as desirous fools. When the mind is engrossed in money and sensual pleasures, where is the door by which divine thought ushers? Fickle-minded people of sensual seeking, find no courage to get peace by inwardly looking. 3 gunas of the world are the seeds of Vedas, transcend the gunas by following yogic ethos, win over duality by weeding out the gunas, without desire for riches, abandoning fear be immersed in Atman's bliss. Vedas are as useful as a well of water, when everywhere the same overflows potable, wholesome and better. If the ultimate jnana is attained on ceasing of Vedic rituals, Atman helps to attain everything and inner happiness swells. There is no restriction to perform the duties, the mind should not be attached to resulting bounties. Perform your duties with vigilant heart, leave the results to me as if the results were my own part. Stand relentless in yogic attitude, let victory and defeat go by their own ways well skewed. Act peacefully without desires, ambrosial yogic path for you automatically clears. Renounce the results of all your actions, restrain in the mind in God's divine essence. Act without hesitation, yoga will attain full fruition, ascetics seeking results of action never reach yogic perfection. Perform your actions and fill the heart with God, good, evil and resulting sins will be removed. Attaining yoga is not about a result-seeking saga, acting desireless but with diligence is yoga. Without vying the results of action, remembering God as heart's own passion, destroying distress and resting with benign thoughts, deign to cross this ocean of repeated births and deaths. Extricate yourself from the forest of desire, evanescent confusions will vanish by none of the divine fire. Never brood about things gone in the past or coming in the future, keep the mind balanced and you will gain divine rapture. The words of the Vedas tether you by desirous actions, you need to restrain the mind from seeking fruitions. When you stand peaceful in the Atman's domain, you have attained yoga and in blissful jnana you will remain. Arjuna. O Krishna, for the Yadava race you are the scion, kindly enlist the symptoms of Gnani the person of perfection. How would that person talk? What would be the words of wisdom? How would that person sit? How would that person walk and roam? Krishna. After quelling all desires rising in the mind, and renouncing all inkling for sensual pleasure to be gained, the person who abides in oneself with firmness, is that person who has attained divine knowledge in fullness. Not forgetting oneself in happiness, nor overjoyed by sex, nor shivering in fear, nor boiling with angry looks, the person who is silent with balanced mind is divine sage, he is otherwise called Sthitapna untouched by worldly deluge. Accepting desired objects without elation, allaying distress even under despicable situation, giving up desires, cravings and aversion for objects lost or gained, the person who is deeply immersed in Atman has firm mind. Just as a tortoise withdraws to its shell, the person who draws all 5 senses will abide in the Atman as ultimate refuge, such a person will be the fount of divine knowledge. Those striving for arriving in state of enlightenment, need to withdraw the senses and stop sensual enjoyment. The residual tendencies are also banished, when the blissful effulgent divine state is reached. In spite of huge effort to withdraw the senses, they have the power to put the mind in frenzies. The senses have the power to divert, even the person striving for jnana through good effort. Restraining all senses inside oneself, installing God in the heart for peace to engulf, the person who stabilizes senses from moving, stands in the Atman with firmness improving. Brooding about objects craved by each sense, brings on wildest of desires the mind to menace. Desire breeds shameful craving, craving creates enraging anger like a poison in brewing. Rage and anger delude the mind, delusion makes the thoughts to splinter and less refined. Splintered thoughts destroy judgment and discrimination, lack of discrimination leads to great destruction. Staying detached from attraction and aversion, controlling the roaring senses from the path of diversion, when the mind is fixed in the Atman without sway, you will gain God's grace to attain divine knowledge without delay. To the complete annihilation of all tribulations, abiding in Atman without excursions, the mind gains bliss and attains strength, there shall abide true knowledge infinite in length. If not controlling the wandering mind, if not abiding in Atman peace to find, if not immersing the heart in peace, restlessness will increase, happiness will cease. Full concentration placed on roaring desires, focus your mind overcoming sensual quagmires. Just as a single hole can destroy a boat, even a single sense can drag you in the wrong route. Restraining senses, maintaining patience, without seeking mean happiness from sensual indulgence, whosoever sits in peace of mind like the God, divine knowledge becomes that person's abode. The sage whose senses and mind are set to look with inward sight, treats the day of others as the darkest night, takes the night of others as the day of delight. The glory of such a sage is difficult to enlist. Just as the ocean doesn't overflow by rivers' invasion, keeping the heart unafflicted by desire-filled emotion, the person who stands in peace gains Atman's grace, the other one who pursues desires on the wrong route strays. The sire who has driven out the sensual desire, seeking no object, taking no ownership by renouncing thoughts dire, whose ego is totally annihilated to zero, abides in peaceful state for life to silently glow. The person who abides in the Atman with peace, never gets a feeling of frightening unease. The person who lives to keep Atman at heart, even after death enters God's blessed rampart. 3. Karma Yoga, Arjuna. You praise the power of divine knowledge as supreme, then you confuse me by preaching a different theme. You impose this heinous crime on my head, why do you wish to make me confused? Instead of offering two different paths, tell me a single way by which my spiritual growth starts. To help me reconcile to life's fussiness and gain true happiness, please tell me the right path for me to harness. Krishna. The path of knowledge for the thoughtful souls, the path of karma yoga for persons playing worldly roles, for persons adept in working with whole heart. I myself created two paths for people with tendencies diverging apart. Those who have renounced all work, have not attained work transcending desires dark, not even the ascetics living as recluse, could manage to attain work without desirous hues. Remaining idle without actions is impossible, on this earth governed by tendencies fickle. Actions are born of nature's vagaries, life without work leads to unknown worries. The person who poses to live with five senses controlled, but broods in the mind about pleasures of the world, shows up a false face and is double-rolled, understands such a person as the one demeaned and self-fooled. Restraining the senses by mind's resolutions, discharging duties as daily oblations, without regard for victory and defeat, the observant person rises through karma yoga the path great. Discharging duties without slackness is great, distracting from duty is life's total defeat. If one wishes to abstain from performance of duties, even the bodily needs cannot be fulfilled at peace. Actions without sacrifice bring sins, such actions tether one to cause and effect, the inseparable twins. The persons who sacrifice actions in Atman, surpass the shortcomings and absolute peace do they win. God created all the worlds and politely said, through the power of sacrifice the world should be propelled. Actions if sacrificed in Atman the sinless, all living forms by motherly affection will it harness. The demigods will be sated with sacrifice, human happiness will also arise, demigods and humans nurturing each other, this will lead to divine knowledge growing further. Desired objects are easily attained, if the path of yoga is sincerely maintained. All actions violating the tenets of yoga, pull the mind towards delusions, desires and make the mind bend like straw. The person who sacrifices all actions in the yogic fire, will erase the traces of sin and desire. When yielding to transgression from the yogic path, the bad tendencies pull a person to distress and wrath. By the food one eats body is sustained, from the rainfall is food obtained. Rainfall occurs as the result of sacrifice, rainfall sustains all life by water's grace. Those who take refuge in divine sacrifices, will be absolved of sinful traces. By yoga one can attain the Atman, as the support of everything it does remain. One who performs the daily chores as per yogic tenets, unswerving knowledge of Nana that person attains. Those indulging in sensual pleasures, are caught in quagmire of sins beyond measures. Fixing the mind in Atman alone, blissfully abiding in Atman demanding none, sated in Atman and sitting in peace, such person has no other duty but has attained total release. The sage immersed in Atman has no desirous actions, nor does that person degrade to total inaction. Nor does that person need anything from anyone, nor does that person have dependence of any form. Quelling the desires in total, diving deep within the Atman's portal, those who have Atman as the single sanctuary, will attain divine knowledge of Nana without worry. One could attain spiritual knowledge of Nana, like the self-realized king great Janaka described in Purana, at least to learn the divine path of karma yoga, be steadfast in detached work to attain the yogic glow. That standard set by the self-realized person stationed in Atman, all others adopt as the standard specimen. The productive work style of the self-realized Gnani, becomes the benchmark for benign persons many. There are no compelling duties to bind me, I have no need to seek object of the worldly way, yet I work incessantly even without desires and duties, just to sustain the world as it is. In case I sit idle at ease, making an excuse that I have no duties, all people would follow me and sit idle, they will descend very low and life would become a riddle. If I sit idle without doing any work, I would be the cause for plunging the world in the dark, I would be the reason for people's degradation, and the cause of the death and destruction. Just as the people without knowledge of Atman work with desires, the self-realized ones work with sanctifying prayers. The self-realized Gnani has no hidden motives, leading the people on right path is the only prerogative. The sages who have seen the limits of working like nerds, without confusing the layman by words, working as usual in daily schedule, urge all others to remember God through mind cool. Although the sequence of actions run by the force of nature, persons who do not know Atman by mind mature, believe that everything happens by their prowess, they would be mired in the mess which they themselves cause. The persons who know the philosophical truth, know how to differentiate desirous and desireless acts at their root, isolate themselves from relations to senses, insulate themselves from tribulations caused by desirous intentions. People would be afflicted by nature's pulls, they would be caught in sinful entangles, the sages would not confuse such deluded ones, but permit them to work as per their whims. Dedicating all actions to me myself alone, immersing the mind fully in the Atman, destroying desires and renouncing ego, fight with valor and bid laziness adieu. Act on the path of yoga without sway, maintaining sincere work schedule feeling gay, take refuge in Atman and remain always working, egoistic actions will not approach your thinking. Those who diverge from yogic path, abandoning yoga as the right faith, will go devoid of all divine knowledge, and roam in the hard world without any refuge. Each one works as per tendencies induced by the nature, even the sages are not exempt from this tendency-based feature, they also have to discharge the duty and daily chore. What is the gain of renouncing actions to attain the state very pure? Enjoying sensual pleasures with greed, makes the dualities of attraction and aversion to breed. Restrain the mind and leave desires behind, bliss of pure Atman soon you will find. Fulfilling one's own inferior duties, is far superior to engaging in another one's with ease. It is better even to fail in one's own duties, fearful is another one's even if it is as cool as a breeze. Arjuna. Prompted by which force do people take recourse, ill-intentioned actions leading to remorse, even though reasons indicate wrong intention, why their mind does not bad action shun? Krishna. Lust leads to the worst anger, makes the mind boil stronger and stronger, breeding all ills through Rajoguna wills, desire is the root cause of all the evils. Just as the fire is hidden by smoke, just as the mirror loses brightness by dusty flake, just as the womb covers child unborn, desires tend to hide the divine Atman. The never-ending flow of unsated desires, not even for a single second from the mind clears. They stand as the enemies of divine knowledge, hiding divinity is their ill-intentioned pledge. Entering the senses, mind and thoughts, the lust of desire makes a person distraught, confusing the mind and infusing bad intentions, desire hides the divine knowledge beyond all penance. Quell the desire as it begins to dwell, otherwise by senses troubles cause it will. The single entity destroying divine knowledge and understanding, is base-natured desire, never yield to it condescending. Atman is divine essence beyond all worldly possessions, worship it as guru and remove base passions, stabilizing mind in the supreme Atman, the true sage over all desires does win. 4 Karma Sannyasa Yoga Krishna. Vivaswan the sun god received this knowledge, from me as a disciple of privilege, this lineage extended to Manu the progenitor, he transmitted this knowledge Ikshvaku of the dynasty Solar. As one learned this wisdom from another, the lineage of this divine knowledge was extended further, it was lost on earth in the course of time, it helps to derive all benefits by unswerving faith prime. Since you are my devotee and dearest friend, I shall relate to you this ancient knowledge lost in trend, I summarily state for you to comprehend, learn this secret of secrets profound. Arjuna. I see you as a contemporary person, ancient being was grandsire Vivaswan, how could the little you become the guru of that old grandsire? I am confused, please make this point clear. Krishna. O Arjuna of prowess, valor and victory against enemies, both of us have taken through different ages many births. I know all the previous births and details, you remember them not since your memory is covered by ignorant veils. Although the eternal being unborn and undead, although the sire of everything and beyond transcended, I seduce my divine Maya to be born, manifesting myself as a normal human. Wherever, whenever righteousness is weakened, O pure Bharata, when evil is multiplied, when the righteous way is threatened by evil, manifest myself there sure I will. To protect the righteous and virtuous persons, to destroy the errant and ill-natured ones, to nourish the ways of righteousness on earth, in every age I deign to take birth. The person who knows the meaning of actions, performed by me with righteous intentions, does not get a rebirth mired in the evils of earth, such a person mixes with me after death. Destroying desire, anger and ego, taking me as the single refuge, allowing divinity to glow, performing all actions as penance for wisdom, the virtuous person reaches me as ultimate freedom. The person who surrenders to me and wishes to reach me as ultimate haven, remembers me even though forgetting details one's own, I shall offer my protection to such a person, believe my words and bravely perform action. Persons desirous of speedy fruitions, pray to gods of various versions, persons seeking fruition of actions, earn many rewards as quick fix solutions. Nature works by the force of threefold tendencies called gunas, people are deluded and divided by this tendency-based menace. Dividing and conjoining are governed by the gunas, but I am not affected by these flaws. Fructifying actions cannot bind me by their attractions, I have no motive for enjoying fruitions. Those who understand this fact, never get entangled in desirous act. Persons seeking divine knowledge, follow this fact and won over worldly bondage, perform your acts following their attitude, attain me with your motive kept rigid. Even the sages with divine knowledge might get confused about work and rest at some stage. I shall instruct you the science of working. By following this instruction, divine knowledge will you gain. Understanding the work to be completed, abstaining from the work to be neglected, trying to know the difference between work and rest. Nature of work is difficult to be correctly assessed. Looking at absolute rest amidst horrifying work, taking to incessant work amid cool restful look, the sage of true knowledge understands the nature and power of work in its true essence. Persons who abstain from desirous work attain salvation without shades of the sins dark. Just as the burnt seed does not grow to breed, the actions of self-realized persons to bondage does not lead. Although engaging in all kinds of actions, avoiding the delusion of desire for fruition, always content, all desires extinct, to the actions of such sage results are not linked. Without concern for resulting fruitions, without ownership and egoistic sense, for the person who works just for necessity and as a service, from the ill effects of bondage that person attains total release. Content with whatever is naturally obtained, destroying duality and by jealousy not stained, without discriminating victory and defeat as two different feats, the person is not bound by results of deeds. The sage is not bound by the three tendencies of nature, is established in the true knowledge with mind fully mature, not claiming praise for honorable action, is absorbed in Godhood through in a short duration. The person who dedicates action to the Atman, sacrificing it to the Atman itself by divine acumen, attains to Atman by the grace of Atman itself, attains total peace of thought-free samadhi when bliss will engulf. Some yogis offer all their possessions in the divine fire with no desirous intentions. Some other yogis offer their yoga itself as the offering to the Atman, which is the inner self. Some yogis offer the listening faculty in the fire of divine knowledge without difficulty. They sacrifice listening and other senses to dive deep inside the peace of Atman's essence. All actions carried out by organs and senses, and prana, the inner breath by which life replenishes, are offered to the Atman as sacrifice by some yogis. Divine knowledge for them will definitely increase. Some offer wealth and riches in the yogic fire. Some others follow the eightfold yogic path to make them pure. Some others observe religious vows and penances. All of them rapidly reach true knowledge by these observances. Some others offer the inward prana in the outward apana. They balance the winds to reach neutrality called samana. They regulate eating habits to gain inner peace, and offer their penance to the Atman as sacrifice. Those who, as per the tenets of yoga, act, exhaust the cumulative effects of good and bad past, rapidly destroying the accumulated fruitions, they attain to God and maintain with others peaceful relations. There is no good without yogic sacrifice. Without sacrifice there is no spiritual peace. The tenets of yoga form the exclusive path. It uplifts a person in this and the upcoming births. Yogic sacrifice is the path to attain God. By all the Vedas, this fact has been declared. Understand yoga by your own cognition, you will overcome desires and reach spiritual emancipation. Sacrificing worldly objects is one way of penance. The sacrifice performed through yoga is superior in essence. After all accumulated karmas and fruitions wither away, one attains the final peace of true knowledge without delay. Paying obeisance to divine sages, engaging in services at all levels and stages, worshipping Atman as the ultimate guru, you will gain the divine knowledge, supreme peace will grow. Persons of pure knowledge are not afflicted by delusions. They understand that I am the essence of all living persons. All life belongs to me and me alone. Worship me with reverence and benign notion. Among the sinners immersed myriad of sins, even if you consider yourself the worst of those fiends, take refuge in the boat called divine knowledge. You will destroy your sins and the other shore of this ocean will you reach. Just like the objects caught in great fire, all sins will be incinerated to make you pure. By the benign power of Gnana, the divine knowledge, maintain silence and be immersed in the Atman as ultimate refuge. There is no state superior to divine knowledge, to offer supreme peace without deluge. Divine knowledge is the ultimate state that yoga leads to. By following yogic path, realization of Atman will accrue. Controlling the senses through sincere effort, by blemish-free knowledge one would liberate. The sage will quickly reach the divine home, symbolized by the holy word Om. The doubting persons will distract themselves, droop down to base level where evil swells. The doubting ones will have deluded mind, happiness of life they would never find. Those who have annihilated lust by yogic practice, shivering of heart destroyed by divine grace, sages reside in the bliss of the Atman. There is no sin to which such persons may be prone. To destroy all ignorance at the root level itself, wield the sword of true discrimination to quell your grief, fight and win this holy war. With unswerving faith heaven or earth is no bar. 5 Karma Vairagya Yoga Arjuna. You preach about renouncing actions, then you urge me to become yogi through action in renunciation. Do not confuse me by differing words. Would you give me the one way that brings all spiritual goods? Krishna. Having spiritual liberation as life's motivation, action and renunciation are equally good for liberation. If you wish me to indicate just one preferred way, action with devotion to God is the better one, I say. The person free of attraction and aversion is not bound by the results of action. Being a person beyond the cycle of action and reaction, the person reaches true knowledge by reaching my station. The Sankhya Sannyasa way is pursuing knowledge occult. The Yoga way is performing detached actions without seeking result. The deluded pundits would say they are different. The divine sages know for reaching the same goal both ways are meant. The final goal that Sankhya teaches, at the end of yoga also one reaches. The person who finds that Sankhya and yoga reach the same goal, looks the bare truth there is no other veil. Even those renouncing actions by sannyasa, need to follow the tenets of yoga. Otherwise they would be afflicted by lust and sadness. The sage following yoga reaches the Atman in fullness. The benign yogi wins over the senses. By the power yoga the attainment knowledge enhances, realizing that the same God sits inside all living beings. Liberation from bondage of actions and reactions such a sage gains. Those who have attained true knowledge in mind, by looking, listening, touching, smelling and, by eating, excreting, dreaming, breathing, speaking, giving, receiving and blinking. Carry on action using the senses, but do not care for result it pronounces. Unbound by the chain of action and reaction, easily reaches God's own mansion. Those who act with the Atman as the goal, performing countless actions as per the assigned role, but behave like the lotus leaf floating on water, pathways of sin such persons do not enter. By body, mind and the discriminative thinking, using the sensing all actions relentlessly performing, renouncing desires and fruition of actions, yogis act without any distractions. The yogis who perform actions not seeking fruition, will strive sincerely to attain peaceful condition. The desirous persons will be deluded, by the greedy actions are morally corroded. Renouncing all actions in their heart, in absolute peace do yogis act. The yogis reign the nine-gated fort, they destroy fruitions by detaching actions and motives apart. The Atman rules the physical body, it acts without self-will or command from anybody. Without seeking or averment to fruitive actions, acts in harmony with nature's predilections. Atman does not share any sins, nor does it partake results of any good actions. By the power of ignorance veiling true knowledge, deluded persons partake action-reaction cyclic linkage. Just as the sun shines when cloud cover clears, on removal of ignorance, final liberation appears. In the mind which is peaceful without ignorance, divine knowledge rules by its own self-governance. Stabilizing mind in the Atman by meditation, always fixing Atman as the final destination. Keep trying, the closed doors will be opened, you will reach the divine knowledge reverend. The true yogi looks with equal cognizance, the great persons full of knowledge and benevolence, the cow, the elephant, the dog, and the person eating dog meat without caring the moral lag. Persons who have balanced the mind are the kings who have crossed the ocean of birth and death running without end. Heart without cares is akin to that of God. The person of equanimity will in the Atman abide. Without rejoicing on getting desired object, without remorse when undesired object one doth get. The person balancing the mind without prattles, is established in the secret of knowledge of divinity that destroys all evils. Those who have relinquished bondages and removed attachments, take pleasure in the Atman's munificence. The yogi who attains Atman the God, immeasurable happiness will in that heart flood. Happiness derived from objects leads to sorrow. The intelligent one never wants objects in list to grow. Since objects are attained and in due course lost, happiness of objects leads to conditions aghast. Before yielding to death and old age, if a person can control sensual deluge, that person is fit to become one with God. The state of Atman is easily obtained. To the person abiding in the inner self, searching for Atman with one's own self-help, that person finds the Atman and attains supreme peace, also finds that the Atman one's own self is. Surpassing the ills of actions and reactions, driving out the darkness which binds to fruitions, the person who works for happiness of all, the divine fulfillment in that person will enthrall. Driving out the feelings of lust and anger, making the mind's absorption in the Atman stronger and stronger, the yogi will reach bliss of the Atman, final release from bondages the yogi will win. Restraining the senses which make the mind to drift, concentrating on Atman between the eyebrows in yoga as an adept, balancing the inhaled breath and exhaled breath, at the nasal canal absolute balance with senses, mind and heart controlled in silence, the person will reach final liberation in full essence. The righteous ones without lust and fear, will reach liberation, it is in fact sure. Understanding that I am the finality of all penance, and that I am ruler of all worlds and the king of regents, and that I shower my grace to all living beings, the true yogi from worldly desire abstains. 6. Jnana Yoga. Without desire for fruits of actions, completing necessary work with good intentions, true sage is he who has attenuated worldly bondages. The lazy ones cannot call themselves sages. Yoga and renunciation are not different ways. Yoga is also the means of attaining God's benign gaze. Without hidden motive and without seeking benefit, Atman's bliss will that person get. Just as the eightfold meditation leads to Atman, yogic action will also reach there. Do not bemoan. The sages who are proficient in karma yoga, perform action and remain in inaction all at one go. Renouncing the desires for objects of the world, without seeking payback from actions as they unfold, the sages who have stabilized the mind and keep it controlled, have attained the limit of yoga and divine knowledge of extent untold. Elevate the mind and greatness you will find, depress the mind the life will fall very much behind. Mind is the companion to reach Atman in heart's canyon, the same mind when uncontrolled fights fiercely from enemy dominion. To the brave one who his own mind has won, the mind becomes the best of friend full of virtuous fun. Those who do not know the way to control the mind, that the same mind becomes the enemy unkind. To the brave one who his own mind has won, the mind itself becomes the fount of knowledge divine. That person accepts happiness, sorrow, heat, cold, honor and dishonor without difference and is by dualities not fooled. Leaving aside gnosis and the process of knowing, the person who is in the Atman abiding, and is from sensual pleasures abstaining, reaches equanimity where stone and gold are perceived as one and the same thing. Improve your level in yogic path. By the attainment of equanimity, dualities go away forthwith. The benevolent person, the friend and the persons of enmity, the apathetic one, the jealous, the sages and the sinners will all be seen with equanimity. The yogis keep their mind in the Atman. They prefer lonely places without anyone. They apply sincere effort and win over the mind. They destroy desires and the bliss of Atman do they find. The yogi should choose a pleasant place, thorough, on even ground, neither too high nor too low, sitting in calmness on a well-made seat, placing on the ground blankets replete. Controlling the mind and sitting firmly in calmness, streamlining thoughts and actions with firmness, in well-seated posture worshipping the Atman, the yogi will attain the bliss of liberation. Keeping the head, neck and body erect, sitting without motion with silence perfect, fixing the eyes at the tip of nose, fixing the eyesight in benign gaze. Sitting in firmness and scuttling fear, observing celibacy and destroying desire, fixing the mind at the divine feet of God, self-realization and divine knowledge are attained. Practicing yoga at all places and times unterminated, with body and mind united and thoughts subsided, without lurking for objects of the world, the yogi in peace and divine bliss will abide. Persons who eat without control, persons who eat too little for bodily toil, sleeping too long or too short because desires froth, these unregulated persons might not be successful in yogic path. Balancing eating, work and relaxation, with adequate sleep and wakeful duration, working with equanimity and fixing the mind in yoga, the yogi will reach the Atman with divine glow. Keeping the mind in righteous ways, always fixing the mind on the Atman's grace, keeping the mind free from desires, the knowledge of Atman gradually clears. Just as the lamp burns flicker-free, when placed in location without wind spree, the yogi who restrains the mind, will abide in the bliss of Atman, the grand. Abiding in the Atman with unified mind, by yogic practice, spiritual liberation is attained. Direct all thoughts to the Atman alone, the entire mind becomes blissful and sadness is gone. For the yogis who abide in the Atman, bliss overwhelms beyond mind's domain. Immersed in Atman, established in peace of mind, in Atman, divine bliss will they find. There is no object superior to the Atman. In desireless state, divinity subsists all alone. Those who have attained the depth of divine knowledge, do not worry even under the most stressing stage. Removal of distress from the mind, is the achievement of yogic path well refined. With strong mind and without intermission, true yogi brings all sorrows to termination. Avoiding the fierce actions born of greed, from the clutches of resurgent desires freed, controlling the mind and the senses by strong will, without responding to sensual arousal. Mind held high, sensitive and refined, fixing Atman as the single goal to be attained, one should approach spiritual peace, and should destroy the piling thoughts for final release. Reclaiming the thoughts which stray around, one should bring them again and again well bound, turning away from the world and inside the heart, one should keep the mind directed to the Atman's rampart. Keeping the mind firmly held in condition of peace, vagaries caused by desires totally put to release. All filth having been removed and mind held in peace, the yogi will attain bliss by Atman's grace. Meditating Atman, thinking Atman, removing filthy desires by effort superhuman, the yogi is released from bondage of actions, the mind is immersed in blissful conditions. The person who has attained equal vision, finds that as everything only the Atman has arisen. The divine knowledge further reveals, that the Atman sustains objects and all forms are in its folds. Looking at me alone in all the objects, looking all objects in me as my own attachments, the yogi would never forget me, I too do not forget that yogi. Having strong faith that I alone manifest as different entities, worshipping me alone through different deities, the yogi who depends on me irrespective whatever happens, such a person's faith in me deepens. Since Atman alone resides in all life forms nothing apart, the yogis who understand in their own heart, the feelings of living beings whatever be that being's state, dear to me are such yogis of stature great. Arjuna. My mind has become fickle and I starts to swirl due to giddiness, it shivers and my mind fails to stabilize. Is it possible for me to practice this yogic path without emotional deluge? Is it possible for me attain liberation by divine knowledge? I am afflicted by doubts and also am I confused, is it possible for me to control in the roaring mind? Just as it is impossible to control the air, however much I try, can I in the yogic path fare? Krishna. Stabilizing the wandering mind, is harder than controlling the wavy ocean you will find. Yet, there is nothing impossible if you try, by steady and unrelenting effort you will achieve victory. If the desires multiply and begin to boil, it is hard to control the mind to the extent full. The brave one who stands within the bound, to that person even the roaring mind behaves like a good friend. Arjuna. Although one has faith in God, if a person on the yogic path fail should, what fate will befall that miserable person? Allay my doubt with kind explanation. What happens to the persons who fail? By half-baked effort, what state do they entail? Without being on the worldly and spiritual paths, does that person get destroyed and begins to loathe? This doubt is making me fully sick. There is no one other than you from whom an explanation I may pick. To completely alleviate my fear and doubt, provide the explanation right. Krishna. Such a person has nothing to worry in this birth or the next. The yogi seeking God's grace never does go waste. The path of yoga never leads to sorrow or splinter. There is no digression to the wrong path for the yogi to enter. The yogis who have not attained to the final state, in the blessed realms of good people, a place they get. After spending a long time in those pleasant realms, the yogi is born in a good family where goodness overwhelms. Such yogi is born in the family of spiritual sages. The next birth offers more spiritual privileges. The next birth being conducive to divine knowledge, it is rare for a person to be born at such family lineage. Such yogi in the next birth tries harder, attains higher speed in yogic path by previous birth's fodder. That yogi tries with more sincerity on the spiritual path. That person attains divine knowledge and total liberation with right faith. Although left alone without any help, the yogi attains speed. The force of previous birth will not stop. Even the yogi who is just at the beginning stage, surpasses the Vedas and gains Vedanta knowledge. Continuing on spiritual path and attaining the Atman, even after thousands of births the final liberation might happen. The final destination of yogi is the oneness with Atman. After attaining the Atman, divine knowledge will sharpen. Whether great genius and those engaged in Vedic rituals, none of them can manage to be the spiritual yogi's equals. Engaged in yogic pursuit to reach the Atman, unafflicted by delusions, very firm on divine knowledge you will remain. Out of many devotees some attain by yogic effort, the ability to visualize me myself inside their heart, by the grace of Atman residing in themselves, such yogis have attained the highest yogic realms. 7. Nana Vignaya Yoga Krishna. Listen, O Kunti's son, how a person having devotion alone, can attain me by my infinite grace, and how the person reaches my preferred place. I shall teach you mysticism and science. It exceeds all facets of knowledge and sense. By acquiring this special knowledge, you will stop seeking earthly objects at any of life's stage. One person in thousands of people seeks to attain the divine knowledge with strong will. Even a select few only reach the state of knowing me by divine knowledge. I have divided my nature into 8 parts: sky, earth, water, fire, and air to start, mind, thoughts, and the egoistic sense of I in the heart. By their power I govern all the worldly sports. All these are my lower nature. Beyond them by means very mature, I create people by my divine power. For all the worlds I am the support giver. All the life forms subsisting in nature live by the above 2 of my states for sure. I am the cause of the birth of all the universe far and wide, and I am the single thing where the worlds on destruction abide. There is no life form which me exceeds. All the worlds are threaded like beads. Upon the me myself the supporting God. They are born from me and in me they are absorbed. O Arjuna, I am the taste in water. As the luminescence of the moon and the sun I enter. I am the divine syllable Om in all Vedas. I am the virility of male and sound filling the sky by divine ethos. Smell in the earth am I, heat in the fire am I. Listen to the list further I say. I am the life of all living beings. I am the grace of those performing penance to reach Atman trying. I am the single seed of all life forms. I am the non-violence among living norms. I am the intelligence of those who are brilliant. I am bravery among those who are valiant. Removing lust and desires leading to wrong. I am the strength of those who are strong, without violating the righteous standards. I am the benign desire full of goods. The 3 tendencies called softness, restlessness and grossness, are born from my own essence. The tendencies of action abide in me, to none of their subservience I ever agree. Covered in the shield of threefold tendencies, to deluded state peoples go with various fancies. Nobody knows in this world or anywhere else, I am the one beyond all the 3 tendencies. My own grace raises the delusion, allowing all beings to bound by 3 tendencies of action. It is difficult to break apart from this illusion. The only way is to surrender me to gain liberation. Those who are very bad among people, those of impure heart and those who do not mean well, never think of me as their benefactor huge, they never surrender to me as their ultimate refuge. 4 kinds of people approach me: those who suffer immeasurable mystery, those who seek divine gnosis, those seeking wealth, and those who have divine knowledge by full spiritual growth. I always reside in the hearts of those whose devotion to me overflows, whose mind remembers me without interruption. Such person treats me as a friend and I am the friend of such person. Although all people are dear to me equally, I entreat as myself the self-realized sage specially. The yogi remembers me and is immersed in my thoughts. Know that I am the ultimate state. The yogi making earnest efforts over several births, relinquishes desires and divine state occurs. Those who have realized that I live in all creatures as the divine secret, to see such sages is very difficult. Prompted by lust covering the divine knowledge, people pray to innumerable gods with list very large. As per their internal tendencies, people pray to different deities. If a person has true faith, whatever image that person worships with, I ensure that their faith remains. I allow them to remain in their own domains. Those worshipping demigods and inferior deities, get for the demands a fast redress. Although the boon is from deity of different name, I am the protector having such a different form. All the boons sought by fickle-minded ones will neither be permanent, nor be final, nor offer satisfaction. Those worshipping deities reach the deities, those worshipping me reach me as their final release. People cannot conjecture my true state, some think I am mere human, cannot my divinity relate, they think I am an ordinary person, their ignorance is beyond words and diction. I hide myself through the power of Maya the delusion, I am beyond common observation. Deluded persons do not see me as God, I am unborn and unending, with nothing else can I be compared. I know all the living beings, those that are born, gone and this day living, and those beings still in the making. Although I know them, none of them knows this divine King. In clutches of dualities called pleasure and pain, people are caught up without any way to redeem. By the delusions caused by happiness and sorrow, they forget the benign and divine God the Guru. By the force of good actions reducing sinful burdens, moving beyond the sensual attractions, those who constantly worship me, are the dearest ones soon to be spiritually free. Those who wish to cross the ocean of birth and death, take refuge in me by the divine path, surpassing sensual desire and reaching divine stature, the yogi gains pure knowledge by worshipping me in my divine nature. All things of the world are my own forms, the yogi who understands this to be the divine norms, the yogi's mind is steady even at the time of death, in me and in me alone will that mind will merge with. 8. Ikshara Brahma Yoga Arjuna. What is the Brahman that is beyond annihilated? What is Adhyatman? What is the karma by action overheated? What is the original spirit called Adibhutha? What is that beyond divinity called Adhideva? What is the source and support of sacrifices called Adhyagna? How does the divine spirit in this body live and glow? How is it that the persons of divine knowledge think of the Atman even at the death stage? Krishna. The permanence is the nature of Brahman, its grace resides in the heart of everyone. The spirit which resides in the human heat is Adhyatman, the cause of creation of all the worlds is karma the action. That which resides everywhere is Adhideva, I am beyond sacrifice and am the Adhyagna. As the humans worship by the above means, all their offerings reach me at once. Even at the stage of eventual death, those who think of me with faith, will reach me after shedding this body, there is no double about this, do your duty. The object thought of when person falls dead, that object easily one does get. By the sum total of all thoughts of entire lifetime, the thought of the final moment nature will determine. Always keep thinking about me alone, fight with full force, doubts are to be aside thrown. Those who dedicated their heart and mind to me, will reach my abode getting from all bonds free. Always thinking about me as the final goal, always self-aware and the mind in Atman kept still, never running after wealth and riches, divine knowledge of final liberation that sage reaches. With a strong mind free from wavering tendencies, by the strength of self-inquiry the Atman if one sees, at the tie of death when the body falls without life force, at the point between the eyebrows. Concentrating the entire life force, as the embodiment of divine knowledge flawless, as the origin of everything and finer than atomic particles, they reach the God-shedding human shackles. I shall tell you the state attained by sages as final solace, about the indestructible God unknown even to those following the Vedic ways, that secret to know which one should have strong resolution, I shall tell you that secret by my revelation. Renouncing passions, fixing at the center of the heart with full concentration, tethering the senses foregoing wandering intention, pulling the life force to the top of head, fixing the mind in yogic concentration fully absorbed. Uttering the divine syllable Om in the mind, thinking about me in the heart without end, for whom life force departs under such conditions from the body, to break away from worldly bondage that sage is ready. Thinking of me every day in the heart, the sage who seeks nothing and mind at stillness put, I offer my grace with total ease, to the yogi who always prays. The sage who has understood my state, will reach me as the final resort, from all the sorrows fully released, the state of heart is beyond world with object filled. All the persons born including Brahma the Creator, are continuously born and dead without detour. Those who worship me reach me, they are not born and dead in cyclic spree. 1,000 ages constitute one day, equal measure constitutes one night, those who know this time measure of Brahma, know how to differentiate day and night flow. In the morning of Brahma is all this world born, by the action of nature and Brahman alone, during his time all the universe is gone, to the vacuum state which is huge oblivion. All these worlds are born in the nature, run towards destruction without any care, they are folded into the night time of no existence, the duality of life rotates again and again for this world's subsistence. Everything annihilated and absorbed in darkness, although they fold into the void of emptiness, the power of God surpasses the cycles, the divine one is pure and faces no troubles. The unborn and undestroyed divinity, is the asylum for every living entity. Since that state is my own state, there is no rebirth for the sages who to my abode get. The path to reach the divine Godhead, is unsullied devotion no other shortcut, bearing all beings in the divine self, and the divine one resides inside all forms of life. The return of the yogi to the earthly realm, or the attainment of supreme state of birth-free calm, I shall utter by secret revelation, understand the facts with full concentration. In fire, daylight, the waxing phase of moon, the 6 months of summer when the bright phase of the sun, the yogis who depart by shedding their body, are in the bliss of Brahman absorbed. The yogis who die in smoke, dark night, the waxing fortnight of the moon, the 6 winter months of the sun. The yogi who dies under these conditions takes a circuit, to return to this earth for resuming the yogic pursuits. Although the souls take 2 different paths, it is agreed that there is good in both. By one route the yogi returns to the earth, by the other route yogi returns to rebirth. The yogis who know the different ways, never get deluded, their mind firm stays. Fix your mind in Atman by yogic practice, thinking me and myself alone, carry on the works just as you please. The yogi renounces all types of motivations, the Vedic rituals and their fruitions. The yogi forgoes the benefits of penances and also fruits of charities, reaches the God who is also the Atman within oneself resides. 9. The Yoga of Royal Secrets. To find out the means to stop the growth of the afflictions caused by birth and death, I shall relate to you. Listen with care. This is because so devoted to me you are. This is a royal secret. It destroys evil, good experience one would get. It takes a person to the state of purity. It is very easy and righteous definitely. Some people think that body is the Atman. They never surrender to me for as the divine. Caught in the whirls of birth and death, they always run in this world entangled. I fill up all the worlds as the single substance. I am hidden from view as the unseen essence. All objects reside in me. I am not subservient to object any. Nothing binds my divine nature. For everything, I am the creator and lord in grandeur. The Atman is the support of all the beings, but the Atman is unbound by any of those things. Just the air resides in the sky. All worldly objects reside in me. However many the worlds, however many the objects, in me do all of them abide, but I do not abide in them. For all the worlds during final annihilation, nature is the single abiding destination. On the next blossoming I send out the nature, I make it to work for by my divine stature. I shall retain the nature under my control, and shall send out each life form to play its role. All living beings work as per the deluded mind, and finally the divine knowledge of liberation they strive to find. This flow is the working process of nature. There is no bondage to me by this feature. I observe the flow of events of the world. I am simply the witness. One me delusion has no hold. Nature works under my command. Functioning of this entire universe within action intertwined, happens due to the nature's prompting. Everything is manifest in a cycle unending. The mean ones of lean knowledge say I am a man, my divine form they do not understand. Without knowing that I am the Lord seated on the supreme helm, reaching divinity is impossible for them. People choose wrong path without hesitation. They also nurture bad thoughts in daily relation. Even though they might try to find Atman the divine, success in that endeavor they cannot find. Persons with benevolent mind and acting in right directions, when they seek to find me with sincere intentions, will become one with the God through the Atman. There is no trouble for the mind of such person. The person fixing the mind with unswerving resolve, taking me as their life's real goal, worshipping me with faith and prayer, will reach me definitely. It is a very clear. Sage worshipping through divine knowledge, the Lord untouched by time's passage, surrender to me in total and live a life filled with happiness. They realize me as I am the single truth to harness. I am the sacrifice and I myself am the offering. I am the medicinal plant and I am the sacred hymn. I am the ghee offered in sacred fire. I am the fire that there does rise. I myself am the enjoyer and object of sacrifice. I am the dearest father and mother of each living being. I am the ancestors. I am the root. I am bearer of things living. I am the single syllable Om worthy to be known. I am all the 4 Vedas and the hymn. I am the target to be attained. I am the ruler supreme. I am the witness for the flow of life stream. I am the friend of everyone, their residence and refuge. I am the origin, the end, the earth, the gold, the seed of this world huge. I am the heat. I am the rain to the world. I decide whether the rain should fall or withhold. I am life and I am death. I am the being and the non-being both. Some observe Vedic rituals, perform sacrifice and oblations they offer, seeking to attain the heavenly pleasure. They enjoy heavenly life and happiness. They are to enjoy heavenly bliss. They are born again after exhausting every good deed, but it's for being born and again to be dead. Vedas propagate the cycle of birth and death, but this cycle revolves around pleasures of the earth. The devotees who have worshipped me as daily regulation, since their worship is without intermission, I shall accept them into my own person, I shall grant their needs and offer them full protection. Even if they worship some other god, eventually just reach me they would, although confused as to the true deity, surpassing delusion they will reach me the Almighty. All the sacrifices are meant for me. I am Lord of all sacrifices you see. Some worship other gods with pure delusion, the fall down scattered without yogic vision. Worshippers of demigods go to those demigods, worshippers of ancestors reach their ancestral spiritual abodes, those worshipping demons and poltergeist reach the netherworld, those worshipping me reach me by yogic road. I shall accept any little offering, leaf, water, flower, fruit or any humble thing. I shall shower my grace to its fullness. All I want is the heart's true kindness. Work, eating, charity practiced, along with penance to make the mind controlled, dedicating everything to me with whole heart, this is the sure way to reach my divine rampart. There is no way to win the effects of fruition, they constantly repeat good and bad results from action. Renouncing desires with unswerving devotion, try with your whole heart to reach my station. I have no friends, I have no enemies, I take up the middle path of perfect balance. Although everyone is equal to me, only those worshipping me will come to my way. Even the most dire of sinners mired in evil, worship me with strong faith if they will, count them as the most austere personage, the state of those performing penances will they reach. Since their evil sins are rapidly washed away, they will gain complete happiness without sway. Those worshipping me never suffer nor are annihilated, believe this fact again reiterated. Persons who have come to me as their refuge, reach me there is no subterfuge. I am not bound by caste, religion or gender, I am unbound by any differences ordinary persons encounter. The obeisance of the great in divine wisdom, and those who live like mendicants although ruling a kingdom, I accept with perfect equality, cross this unsteady, troublesome world in its entirety. Immerse your heart in my thought, offer everything to me with whole heart, set my attainment as the final goal, surely come to me you will. 10. The glory of Atman Krishna. Since you are my dearest friend, I shall tell to you the fact very grand, it remains a divine secret, listen to me again as I relate. Nobody knows my state of origin, the gods and sages try but know it none can. Since I am the origin of everything, my own origin is beyond knowing. Knowing me as the origin of universe, knowing the Lord of all else, knowing me as the God understand me in full, liberated become they will. Knowledge, wisdom, silence without desires, forbearance, truth, abstaining from sensual fires, modesty, happiness and sadness, birth and death, amnesty to others, fear and fearlessness both. Non-violence, equanimity of vision, penance, generosity, greatness, mean position, all of them proceed from me the worldly realm, rule all the worlds and worship me as the prime. The 7 rishis, the benign force starting with Sanaka, the manas who offer human laws, others benign persona, humans races and their lineages, are all just my mind's images. Those who understand me as the ultimate good, accept me as the divine God, worship me and are absorbed in me, will abide in the Atman with infinite glee. All objects originate in me, the who worship me with mind held desire free, their hearts will melt and tumble with bliss, they worship me with devotion and attain me without a miss. Fully immersed in me even to the breath, thinking about me and speaking about my myth, always happy to share what they have, they share divine wisdom with affection and awe. Happily worshipping and working in my dedication, persons accepting me as the final destination, get my grace and attain wisdom, definitely come to my kingdom. I sit in every heart as the divine Atman, I destroy the darkness of heart with divine acumen, I destroy ignorance and offer divine wisdom, I shall help make them enlightened and offer freedom. Arjuna. Unparalleled divinity and undestroyed virility, you are the Brahman, the benign entity. You are unborn and reside inside everyone, you are unique and the personality divine. The prime fact known to all sages and divine personages, Narada, Asida and Devala the godly sages, Vyasa added to the list who expounded this fact, I accept in fullness since the same you reiterate. I accept everything as the benign fact, the real myth is unknown to even the demigods and demoniac sect, the actual form of your personality, understanding it in fullness is great difficulty. You are the greatest of everything existing, you create and guide all the worlds by timely steering, you rule the universe as the king with grace, no one but only you know your fullness. If I dare to speak about the greatness of your form, being the omnipotent yet very calm, mixed in everything as the inmost essence, you shine bright with full luminescence. What is the means of knowing you the Great One? Think of your glorious Yajik how I can. Which ways should I think of you? Please infuse in me the knowledge new. Repeat your glories again and again, limitless power and unknown greatness are a spiritual gain, I am enthusiastic and it tastes like sweat, please again the glories again repeat. Krishna. Listen to the scion of Kuru race, I reduce my boundless form within bounds for your ease, listen to these heart-rendering details, I shall make sure that you grasp all the essentials. The Atman which resides inside all living beings, I am the origin all living and non-living things, I am their life and I am their annihilation, for all living beings, I am the eventual destruction. I am Vishnu among the Adityas, I am sun among the objects luminous, among the winds I am Mariki that brings delights, I am the moon among the satellites. I am the Sama him among the Vedas, I am the Indra among the Devas, I am the mind among the senses, I am the egoism of I feeling among living species. I am Sankara among the Rudras, I am Kubera among the Yakshas, I am the fire god among the 8 elements of the universe, I am the Meru among mountains terse. Among the persons of great learning, I am Brahaspati the guru of Indra the king, I am Skanda among the great warriors, I am the ocean among the water carriers. I am great Brigu among rishis, I am the sacred single syllable Om among words precise, I am the Japa among the penances, I am the Himalaya among objects of inertness. I am the Banyan among the trees, I am Narada among Deva rishis, I am Chitrangatha among Gandharvas, I am Kapila among the Siddhas. Among the horses which run fast with ease, I am the Amritha-born species Uchashrivas, I am Airavada among the elephants, I am thinking among human legends. I am Vajrayutha among the weapons, I am the Kamadhenu among divine cows granting all benefactions, I am the Kama among the progenitors, I am Vasuki among the serpents. I am Ananda among the cobra species, I am Varuna among the water bodies, I am Aryama among the ancestral spirits, I am Yama among the enforcers' legal gists. I am Prayalatha among the demons, I am time among the calculating ones, I am lion among the animal herds, I am eagle among the birds. I am the Vayu among the cleansers, I am Rama among the adept archers, I am the Makara among the fish, I am Ganges among the rivers which the heinous sins does wash. I am the beginning and the end of all things born, I am the life lived in between, I am Atmavidya the divine knowledge and knowables, I am the cause behind arguments and troubles. I am the letter among alphabet pronunciations, I am the diphthong among letter combinations, I am time among the unending processes, I am Brahma the creator among creative forces. I am the finality of death for all living beings, I am their birth too when life cycle begins. I am modesty among the virtues of women, I am words, wisdom, memory and existence with quality benign. I am Brihatsama among the same Veda poems, I am the benign Gayatri among Vedic hymns, I am the February Margazi in months of the year, I am the spring when the seasons appear. I am gambling among cheating games, I am the strength of warrior seeking fames, I am the good spirit hidden in all good actions, I am victory, politeness, peace and determination. I am the Vasudeva among the Vrishni clan, I am Arjuna among the 5 Padava Brothran, I am Vyasa among the sages, I am Usana among poetic personages. I am the beating staff among the punishers, I am polite restraint among those seeking to be winners, I am peace and silence at the depth of heart, I am the divine knowledge among the self-realized sages great. I am the support of every life form, for living beings I am the origin, the living entities and non-living entities, have myself alone as the single basis. My divine forms and my benign properties, are beyond all counts and cannot be spoken at ease. All the above narrations are my aphorisms, they are mere parables and not final conclusions. Whatever object is great and bright, all those out of my grace only arise, just a fraction of my total power, is sufficient to make all greatness to shower. What is the use of listening to all this? I sustain all this universe by a little fraction of my grace, do wish to understand all of my powers proficient, just be content with whatever for you is sufficient. 11. Visvarupa Darshan Arjuna. You have made me to understand the secret of the Atman, by imparting this knowledge you have given me a great boon. The facts revealed by you have given, freedom to my heart from undue delusion. I have learned the origin and demise, of living beings from your words very precise, your glory extends beyond any limit, I surrender to your benign feet. You have revealed Atman's glories, I agree with all your views, although you have given detailed narration, yet I wish to see your universal form. If I am fit for looking at your divine and glorious format, I wish to see the form of the divine Lord, kindly let me behold your divine form if you could. Krishna. Behold my divine form Partha, the form which holds thousands of faces inspiring awe. Look this form benevolent and brilliant, behold my appearance colorful and vibrant. All types of people, the Adityas, the Vasis, the Asvini Kumaras, the Vasis, the Rudras and the Maruthas, I shall show the unique form if God, which no other person see could. The beings with feelings and objects inert, all the worlds reside in my divine form as a little part. If you wish to see anything else, you can see even the entire universe. Your physical eyes are inadequate to behold this form, thus I have bestowed you with vision divine. Deeply look at this divine state, I am the overlord of the universe's fate. Sanjay. The Lord of everything venerable Krishna, the adept yogi and God of glory and awe, the rarest vision of the divine Lord, the mind of Arjuna with ecstasy overflowed. Countless faces and eyes everywhere, with innumerable immeasurable wonderful bodies very fair, enticing dresses clad in full, bearing armory extremely powerful. Beautiful garlands, pompous garments, having perfumes having sweet scent, exciting and colorful forms of inviting attractions, countless faces looking in different directions. As if thousand suns have suddenly arisen, the brightness of the form is an awesome vision, divine grace makes as a perennial flow, and fills the entire universe with its divine glow. Although segregated and the many worlds appear differentiated, just observe that in divine form of God they become united. Arjuna beheld the limitless again over and over, of the God Krishna's power. Arjuna was awestruck at the limitless to be seen, goosebumps were raising all over his skin. He bowed his head in the deepest reverence, he worshipped the Lord with extreme subservience. Arjuna. I look and gods of gods resting in your manifestation, I look at all living beings subsisting in your divine vision. I look at Lord Brahma seated on lotus flower, I also see Rishis and divine serpents and Shiva the boon giver. You have countless hands, pit-like bellies and eyes, you fill up the interior and exterior of all skies, I see your form without beginning middle or end, O Lord of the universe, limitless you stand. Donning diadems, clubs and disc armors, as your illumination in each direction pours, my eyes are dazzled and my vision does blur, its illumination exceeds the sun's splendor. You are the single basis to be known, you are the support for earth and heaven, you are the repository of sanguine living, you are the Purusha the being very divine. Your virility is without beginning, middle, or end. The sun and the moon are the two eyes looking cool. Fire is ensuing from your fierce mouth. The heat is frying the heaven and the earth. You fill up the heaven, earth, and all directions. You alone fill all skies beyond description. Looking at your appearance being a dread, all the worlds are afraid. With folded hands and worshipping words, all gods gathered around with applause. The sages of divine knowledge and siddhas gathered, chanting Vedic hymns and obeisance offered. Rudras, Adityas, Vasis and all others, Sathyas, Visvedavas and Asvini Kumaras, Maruths, the ancestors, Yakshas and Gandharvas, Asuras and Siddhas are awestruck and words at a loss. Eyes, faces, hands and trunks, legs, thighs and poisonous fangs, beholding the limitless and countless form, all the worlds are shivering like just the way I am. The large open mouth showing many colors, spewing fire with fury like pillars, eyes shining bright like dots of fire, I happen to shiver and tremble under fear. Just as the great fire rising at final apocalypse, the fire streams threaten all the worlds to eclipse. Mind is deluded, directions are spinning, please be merciful to me as you were at the beginning. All the kings and the Dhritarashtra clan, all the warriors gathered in the war to win. Bhishma, Drona, Karna and countless warriors, fighters of prowess with many war gears. Enter your gory mouth having projecting fangs, all of them are annihilated and their march simply throngs, some escaping the inflow caught between the teeth, by huge force their heads have been crushed with. Just as a huge river flows in fury, to mix with the ocean large very, all the warriors are totally perishing, in the stream of fire from your mouth issuing. They fly like the moth to enter the flame, flying and dying is their sporting game, all of them go with terrifying speed, and rapidly meet the fate and fall down dead. Spewing terrifying flames of fire, I see that all of the warriors expire. The flames illuminate the entire world, fearing extinction they experience jolt. Who are you rising to destroy the world? I bow to your feet seeking your protective fold. I wish to learn more about you. What is your purpose for which pure terror you brew? Krishna. I am the time that does precise calculation. I have put every warrior here to final destruction. Even if you abstain from the righteous war, from this destructive war no one will fare. Therefore Arjuna rise, fight and win, the rulership of the kingdom you will gain. I have killed each and every one, release your arrows simply for fame and fun. Bhishma, Drona, Jayadratha, Karna, and many other warriors have already been made straw. I have already killed them all, release the arrow, victorious you will emerge tomorrow. Sanjaya. On listening to the words of Krishna, shivering and trembling were felt by Arjuna. Arjuna prostrated again and again, he uttered the following with tongue faltering. Arjuna. All the world is elated by your presence, all lives are excited and stick to your hands. The flock of the demons is totally annihilated, all the benign sages praise and fall prostrated. O the ancient born before the Brahma, there is nothing wrong in worshipping you in awe. You are everywhere as the divine Lord, you are the bedrock of everything my God. You are the origin of all the universe, all the worlds worship you with Vedic verse. You are the one thing worthy of knowing, you are everywhere as the most subtle thing. You are water, fire, moon and the Yama, you are the great sire and you are the Brahma. I prostrate before you 1,000 times, I worship you again and again singing your fames. I worship you at the front and the back, I worship you from all sides with thoughtful look. You have unparalleled power and prowess, you are the core essence and the objects of the world gross. I addressed you as an equal friend, by words like friend, Krishna, Yadava and Nandan. All those words were beneath your stature, all those uttered in affection but beneath your nature. I addressed you in comedy and satire, I teased you while eating and in resting without understanding clear. I remember teasing you in roaming and walking alone, kindly ignore my impertinences and offer me pardon. You are the Lord of all things that work and rest, you are the Guru worthy of worship and zest, there is nothing that outgrows your extent, you rule all the worlds with power impossible to comprehend. I prostrate at your feet and pray to you with whole heart, just a father does for his son, just as a friend does for another friend's part, and as a lover does for his beloved counterpart, please bear with my mistakes which in number were lot. I am delighted by this divine vision, I feel great fear overshadowing my emotion, my mind is afraid of your universal form, please come back to your natural natured calm. I wish to see your pleasant form, donning disc, club and diadem. May you return from this terrible form with thousands of heads, to your natural form with 4 hands and face beautified. I have shown you this universal form out of my benevolent will, only by Atma Yoga seeing this form is possible. No one else has so far seen, this luminous and unending form very divine. It is not possible to look at this form, through Vedic recitals, sacrificial rituals or charity they perform. Nor is it possible by discussion with sages or severe penance, you gained this vision simply your affection very intense. You have seen my terrible form inducing fear, now look at my pleasant form friend my dear. Look at me with your usual affection, this beautiful form of mine sweet for your vision. Sanjaya. Changing from the terrifying universal form, Keshava changed himself to Krishna standing calm, he stood with 4 hands as the old friend, he sported a mischievous smile, trying humble looking to pretend. Arjuna. I look at your human form, very pleasant my mind become, I have become very pacified and cool, my mind is calm as usual. Krishna. Even the devas have not seen this vision, even the gods of gods cannot see this version. Even if the devas do hardest of penances, of this form, they cannot get even momentary glances. Vedic recitation, extreme penance, offering charity, making donations, performing sacrifice cannot view this form, you seen by my grace the vision wholesome. It is possible to view this form, only through unswerving devotion. If the devotee sincerely does persist, the person will view this form as final gift. Whosoever works with sincerity for me, whosoever thinks only about me, taking no one as the real enemy, such a person will get this vision to see. 12 Bhakti Yoga Arjuna. Is the yogi who works with your thoughts superior? Or is the person who worships elaborately the leading peer? Or is the person who worships you as the Atman very dear? Or is the rigorous yogis of eightfold yoga welfare? Please make it clear. Krishna. Fix the mind in my singular thought, worship me interruption without, the righteous ones with deep faith, are the dearest to me and I am happy with. Without beginning, without end and unmanifest, I am in everything as the single substance dispersed. I am the kernel of infinite gravity, I am fixing the direction by your polarity. Controlling the senses, balancing the mind, at all places without concern for whatever happenings one does find, with firm discrimination and unbiased in action, person of such a great heart will reach my station. Since the real God is unmanifest, fixing the mind on the unseen is not the path easiest. Since the mind lives in the realm of objects, it cannot behold the true God unmanifest. The person who peacefully completes all assigned work, fixing me as the target and always about me think, I understand the concerns of that yogi, I shall shower my grace to make that person from bondages free. I offer my grace to both the yogi and the devotee, to cross the ocean of birth and death occurring cyclically, by the force of that person's devotion, I shall grant him final emancipation. Fixing the thoughts on me alone, fixing the mind on my form divine, those who live in me, doubtlessly absorbed in me they will be. If you do not find the inner strength, to fix the on my form firm resolve with, practice yoga in gradual stages, your inner resolve will grow by measurable gauges. If you do not have the sharpness and strength for meditation, keep in the mind and engage in dedicated action, you will reach me even by performing works, all the advantages of meditative path are available as perks. If you cannot remember me while working, if you find yoga is a difficult thing, just relinquish the results alone, get the heart that does not wish any gain. Meditation is better than knowledge alone, meditation is inferior when the mind's condition where nothing is expected in return for action, peace of mind is better than the above diction. Being friendly to each living being, behaving well with friendship flowing, renouncing selfish thoughts of I and mine, the who takes happiness and sorrow with equal mind. Always blissful and engaged in yoga, whosoever thinks firmly about my glories and saga, whosoever has dedicated the mind and thoughts to me, that person is really my closest, whatever in life that person may be. As a sanguine person who does not oppress others, as a brave one unafraid of oppressors, without being agitated by fear, anger or delight, the person who reaches liberation is close to my sight. Equanimity, good heart and full of talents, without seeking fruits, without any laments, a person who does not seek anything more, the devotee is eligible for my grace falling in shower. Not delighted on gaining something, nor sorrowful on bereavement of anything, treating delight, sorrow, fortune and misfortune, I am happy with such a person. Treating friend and enemy with equanimity, rejecting honor and dishonor as non-entity, treating cold, heat happiness and sadness, as the same thing without any difference. Treating praise and disgrace with equal silence, however difficult remaining in calmness, the heart being firm although without a living place permanent, such devotee receives my affection fervent. Learn the nectar of righteous life, progressing by sincere effort and faith, firm in the mind in reaching the Atman, such a devotee is best and the most benign. 13 Digathma Vibhaga Yoga or Kshetra Kshetragna Yoga Arjuna. About nature and the ruling spirit, about body and the life force closely knit, about knowledge and knowable one, I pray you kindly offer explanation. Krishna. This body the Kshetra the residence, the indwelling spirit is Purusha that learns everything as the witness, Kshetragna is the divine knower. Atman is that gracious governor. I am the knower of this body, I know every little anatomy, person who understands the body and its dweller, knows all divine knowledge in a manner proper. I shall tell you about Kshetra the residence, I shall also tell you the changes in it that take place, I shall explain the process of such changes, learn them in detail in its full ranges. The Rishis have sung variously about it, in the Vedic hymns also the same was described. The same was explained in Brahma Sutras, I shall explain cause and consequence process. The ego sense of I feeling rising, the portions inside the minds deeply hiding, the 11 segments of the senses in action, the 5 senses engaged in 5 different sections. Happiness, sadness, desire and aversion, distress, happy life, the I feeling of egoism, combined together form Kshetra the residence, and the changes therein of Akara the delusions. Humbleness, modesty abstaining from pride, non-violence, peace of mind, pompousness denied, obeisance to Guru, cleanliness and purity, bravery of heart, seeking the Atman with unswerving sincerity. Abstinence from senses which induce burden, calm mind without egoistic overtone, birth, death, old age and disease, in sadness and scarcity without craving cries. Non-association, not desiring for objects any, not burdened with family and progeny, at the approach desired and undesired objects, keeps the mind steady without changing elation or regrets. Taking refuge in me, yogic practice, always worshipping me in heart's abyss, remaining happy by solemn meditation, abstaining from large gatherings and wasteful interaction. Meditating about the Adhyatman in the heart, understanding philosophical facts without anyone to impart, I have granted all divine wisdom to you, all others are unwise delusions, they have no clue. I venture to clarify that which is worthy of knowing, I am offering sweet nectar of wisdom ever growing, the Brahman which is without unborn, remains beyond the ambit of mind human. Wherever one sees it has legs and hands, eyes, faces and heads appearing in bands, sounding everywhere as the rising musical beat, appearing as all objects and unmanifest. As the one deeply engrossed in sensual indulgence, as the one detached from all sensual passions, as the weakest one and as the strength of everyone, as the pure one without tendencies and as the ocean of tendencies benign. As the inside and outside of each being, as the objects stationary and moving, as the subtle of subtle things but not broken by wear, as the most distant among distant and as the nearest among the near. As the unitary God without division, although divided remaining in firm condition, as the various objects of world and as the knowledge worthy of knowing, destroying everything and the same during creation spewing. As the luminous center of brightest objects, surpassing gross tendencies as the feeling great, knowledge, the subject of knowledge and the mind that knows, the single feeling which in each every heart overflows. I have given you the knowledge of Kshetra the dwelling, as simple as possible by easily explaining. The devote who understands this science, surely joins me wherever that person is. Forms born of nature by grace of God, the unborn singleton divinity unparalleled, changes work through the triple tendencies, they pull the nature towards just as they please. Appearing as the cause, the process and the doer of actions, although nature induces varied delusions, the Atman resides as the innermost being, it enjoys joy and suffering by sensually indulging. Seated in the bodies born of nature's creation, Purusha the divine Lord enjoys objects and motion, the Atman being born at higher or lower station, is caused by the Atman's natural delusion. The Lord of all the worlds resides in the body as well, it is the same universal spirit which does everywhere dwell, God resides as the witness and the ruler, God resides joyfully as the protective power. The Lord of the body called Purusha the spirit, the nature which the body which does construct. Those who understand this basic fact, remain calm without any adverse impact. Some sages understand that Atman is seated in the heart, some of them realize Atman when they deeply meditate, some of them follow Sankhya philosophy, some of them work with dedication and become karma yogi. Although some others might not know yogic path, but they meditate on the Atman with full faith. Believing in the Guru as the ultimate God, they will attain the ultimate Godhood. All the actions and states attained, by the objects remaining moved and unmoved. All the happenings are by conjunction, of the body and its dweller by Kshetra-Kshetragna relation. The divine God equally blesses each object, and he also lives as the dwelling subject. If one can visualize the eternal Atman, inside this ephemeral body has true vision. The divine ruler fills up all spaces, and is equally distributed in eternal traces. Although Atman is associated with objects, the divine being any blots never gets. Actions are born of inherent nature, although all actions are carried out by all creatures, the Atman is free from any kind of action, the person who knows this has Atman's true vision. Although divided in many ways, the Atman is undivided, clear and in each object stays, the person who understands that one is divided into many, have attained divine state sweet like honey. The uncreated and undestroyed Atman, sits in the body unaffected by any tendency or affliction. Understand that the Atman is at rest, this is the most important and unequivocal fact. Although space is present everywhere, the space is not bound by what the objects are. Although it resides in each body and object, Atman is beyond any binding and always intact. Just as the sun does all the world illumine, yet manages to stay away from worldly relation, the Atman resides in all physical bodies, its splendor is seen through the self-consciousness, the true bliss. When a person understands the differentiation between the body in action and the Atman, the inner essence, will gain blissful divine conscience, and will gain God's divine presence. 14. The division of tendencies of gunas. Krishna. I shall reveal the deepest of wisdom worthy of knowing, listen with care and get it will be easy going. The sage could reach the state of silence, only with the help of this subtle science. The persons endowed with this divine wisdom, will always be established in my own grace. Deviation is to be found seldom. They remain unbothered about anything happening, the destruction of universes or recreation at another beginning. All the nature is like a mother for germination. I deposit my virility for beginning creation. This is origin of the creative impulse, everything comes into being by this process. All the forms of living beings germinating in nature, a simply different form of the same Brahman bearing the same signature. I am the seed that impregnates the Brahman, to make all life forms originate the Brahman from. The tendencies of sattva, rajas and tamas, delude in the mind and make the Atman appear a mess. The God transcending the limits of time, and lives as if the divine were under nature's bind. Sattva is the purity of thoughts. It shines bright as the sun whose luminescence exceeds. It binds the mind to the tendency of happiness. It makes divine wisdom possible with easiness. The tendency Rajo Guna is driven by desire. It runs after riches and creates mental quagmire. It is birthplace of the wheel of action, where desirous motives expect fruition. The Tamo Guna is a tendency born of ignorance. It immerses all lives in delusion beyond deliverance. It engrosses all the living beings, by delusion, lack of initiative and sleep and pangs. Sattva tendency results in sweet pleasure. Rajo tendency leads to desire beyond measure. Loosing one's discrimination is born of tamas tendency. The domination of tamasa tendency affects thinking capacity. Sometimes the Rajo tendency rises high, sometimes the Sattva tendency makes happiness nigh, some other times tamasa tendency hits with deadly fang. Each one of the three competes to become strong. By the increase of Sattva born of purity, the body shines bright with divine beauty. The ambience of the growth of wisdom is provided by Sattva, the tendency of pure freedom. Jealousy, greed, agitated action, eagerness to engage in initiatives for fruition. These are the symptoms of ascending to power, of the Rajo Guna which stops action never. Darkness, inaction, lack of steadiness, thoughts degraded, confusions due to mind's infirmness. This state of downgraded existence is born of Tamo Guna rising to dominance. The person who dies, when the Sattva Guna is on the rise, reaches the divine worlds with pure heart full of bliss. For innumerable years there such person resides. The person who dies when Rajo Guna dominates, rebirth mired in the bondage of action that person gets. The person who dies during rise of Tamo Guna will be born in the kingdom Animalia. The Sattva born of benign intentions makes the mind pure and pleasant without tensions. Pain and sorrow are born of Rajo Guna. Ignorance is the hallmark of Tamo Guna Arjuna. Divine wisdom grows by Sattva Guna the best. Rajo Guna induces greed and lust. Ill intentions rule due to rise of Tamo Guna, that prevents wisdom and increases ill manner. Sattva Guna takes to higher and higher domains. Rajo Guna rises but always at halfway it remains. Tamo Guna takes to the meanest of realms, those of doomed places where arrogance overwhelms. The person who knows the fact behind tendencies, sees that actions are induced as the three of them please. With unswerving mind win over the gunas or tendencies, understand my stature free of frenzies. Birth, old age and death are the conditions, born of the life's bodily associations. Those who surpass the inducements of gunas, even in this birth can divine wisdom possess. Arjuna. How to find out those who have surpassed the gunas? How is it possible for person without gunas to engage in actions? How do they surpass the guna-born tendencies? Explain in detail for me please. Krishna. When knowledge and brilliance increase in excess, when actions easily grant total success, when tyranny of ignorance unbearable pain and sorrow induces, without concern for aversion or affection it produces. The person who sees the guna-born ravages, simply as the witness and dubs them as acts of savages, understand that the gunas enter the mind to create actions of various kind. Accepting pleasure and pain with equanimity, treating stone, iron and gold on parity, regarding the friends and foes with the same entreaty, without happiness in praise and without sadness in conditions petty. Without elation in rising and depression in falling, maintaining same coolness to friends and enemies calling, avoiding self-promotion to be at the forefront, having won over the tendencies which confront. Surrendering to me and thinking of me alone, the person who faithfully worship me as the Scion, will easily cross the domination of gunas or tendencies, will also the divine God with absolute ease. The flawless personality of Godhead am I, wholesome nectar of liberation is blessing my. I am the abode of all divine wisdom, I am the repository of bliss and freedom. 15 Purushottama Yoga Krishna. There is a divine peepal tree living, with roots upwards and branches downwards extending. The Vedic hymns are the leaves of the tree, the person who knows this becomes of bondage free. Branches of this tree extend upward and downward, its leaves are objects, working with gunas the tendencies is its reward. The roots falling downwards denotes the process by which life gets entangled in desirous acts. Humans cannot understand the shape of this tree, nor do they know its beginning, end or middle with bare eye. To root out this large peepal tree, determination is the sword of victory. The divine state of God's union has no return. This state the sages willfully entertain. They surrender to the feel of the divine Lord, who is the origin and end of all species viewed. Mind undeluded, shunning company unwanted, knowing the Atman, desire outrooted, without being affected by happiness and sadness, the divine feet of the Atman does the sage harness. The sun and the moon will not rise to shine, nor will fire come forth to illumine. The persons who have attained me, do not have any reason reborn to be. A tiny fraction of the undying being, enters the body to it illumine, gets itself associated with senses of the body, connects itself to the nature to get itself muddy. The ruler of the body might leave the old one, and enter the new one to make it its own, just the fragrance of flower wafts in the air, takes the mind and tendencies for repair. Hearing, seeing, touching and smelling, happen by the working of mind's state of willing. Mind understands the world around, using the senses which are worldly indulgent. Deluded person would not see the Atman, bound by the tendencies and by body's death being certain. Only by divine wisdom can someone become free of cyclic births and deaths to see the Atman. The introspection can the yogi understand the Atman seated in the body. The persons who have not seen this Atman cannot understand that it resides inside everyone. In hot shine of the sun which illumines all the worlds, the cool rays of the moon which the night time fills, the heat and brightness which from fire emanates, all these of my own divine states. Entering the earth by my power divine, I create for all life an ambient condition. I have blessed all this shrubs and plants, by the power of the moon's blessing grants. By the fire burning in the stomach of every being, called the fire of Visanara for food digesting, becoming the prana and the apana for inbreathing and exhaling, I absorb the senses and in the body am I dwelling. I am seated in the heart of each person, I am the memory, forgetting and divine wisdom. All the Vedas worship me alone, I myself am the Vedanta for self-realization. There are two divisions of objects on this earth, as the ones which destroy and the ones eternity remain with. All the bodies will fall and perish, the indwelling Atman will remain with eternal relish. The God remains even beyond these two domains, the ruler of everything that divinity is. The same is the God which enters the breath, and remains as the basis and support of all exists that. I am wholesome beyond destruction, I am the undestroyed personality benign, I am the purity transcending the Vedas, I am the benign sound that for all creation is the cause. Surrendering to me is the ultimate refuge. The persons who understand me as the divinity huge, knows all the secrets of secrets, such a person in my service delights. I have given the deepest of facts, for it may help you in your acts. The person who this teaching accepts, becomes the wisest and in divine knowledge the adept of adepts. 16. Difference between Deva and Asura tendencies. Krishna. Fearless mind, flawless thought, mind strongly in divine wisdom established, devotion, kindness, abstinence, respect to others, interest in rules of life, penance and meditation, righteous. Non-violence, truthfulness, avoiding rage, sacrifice for others, peace of mind, abstaining from hurting language, protecting everyone, abstaining from desires, respect, humbleness, righteous prayers. Ability for working, forgiveness for others, bearing difficulties, avoiding bad behaviors, desisting from cheating, not assuming pride, are the symptoms of the persons of divine creed. Pride, arrogance, self-esteem, self-promotion, anger, uncontrollable acts without consideration, and ignorance are the evil symptoms of persons having devilish asura epitomes. The divine tendencies lead to spiritual release, the devilish tendencies lead to ignorant mess. You are a person full of divine tendencies, Arjuna, knowing this you breathe with ease. There are two kinds of life form filling this earth, those following divine or those following devilish path. I have explained divine tendencies in detail, I shall expound the devilish tendencies as the entail. They might not know the difference between the permitted and prohibited actions, life in unclean condition, bad habits, not speaking the truth, wallowing as misfits. They will deny that there is righteousness on earth, they would also deny the existence of God forthwith. They would ascertain that the world runs on lust, they would also say apart from desire there is no gist. The evil ones take such ill decisions, they loose everything and themselves to bad actions, they carry out actions filled with terror, their evil actions may destroy the world altogether. Applying the mind deeply in desires, acting with pride, egoistically believing there no other sires, immersed in lust their actions are cursed, they avoid the right path and take the evil path wrongly treaded. They take sensual pleasure as life's only leisure, live their life till the final day does usher, they would be entangled in many desires, happily wallow in delusional quagmires. Caught in clutches of deep desires, lust and rage rising like fires, wishing to attain happiness through sense, they violate the rules and follow wrong means. Thinking that I attained this today for enjoyment, tomorrow I shall take another one much grand. I have attained luxuries and comforts today, I shall attain many more comforts which are on the way. Today I vanquish this person, I shall annihilate all other enemies soon. I shall win all this world, I am the victorious with high prowess and bold. I am the rich opulent in wealth, I am elite by virtue of the highest birth, I shall take delight in offering charity, such a petty-minded person lacks vision of clarity. Entertaining countless and ill-natured thoughts, deeply entangled in wrongful acts, the persons entertaining ill-natured lust, will fall down in life and of everything they will be bereft. The egoistic sense of I am the greatest, arrogance, pride and wealth turning am the worst, offering charity and sacrifice for pure vanity, they violate the rules and their acts are dirty. Egoism rising beyond limits, lust and anger occupying thoughts, they nurture enmity between, the God residing inside themselves every other being. I shall reject the tyrants and sinners, without offering wisdom or liberation of freeness, I shall be born again and again among these ill-mind persons, to help them tread the path of salvations. They take up the help of persons worse, in every birth, deeper in evil ways to immerse, they would never come to my abode, they take to vicious and destructive road. In the mind of the person wallowing in anger and lust, there is no chance of Atman's benign thought. Mired in anger, lust and unlimited rage, they are doomed, avoid them at any of life's stage. All the three enumerated above are the gateways to the hell to go. As the spiritual strength begins to enhance, they attain unsullied deliverance. Those who disregard the path of moral code, choosing to tread the path of desires as mavericks would, neither would they attain happiness in world, nor would they reach divine God's abode. Always abide by the rules of moral code, act according to the advice therein offered, learn all the rules of moral conduct, consider them well before every act. 17. The division of faith, Arjuna. What happens to a person who worships you by ways his own, to the codes of morality offering no concern? What is the tendency of divinity of the god? Out of sattva, rajas and tamas the tendencies threefold. Krishna. As per the tendencies acquired by the body-bound Atman, there are three different paths liberation to attain. The paths of liberation I shall in detail explain, the threefold sattva, rajas and tamas discipline. As per the tendencies induced by nature, there are three different ways of liberation a person can acquire. Each one's innate faith inclines to different ways, understand them well without intervening overlays. Persons of sattva will reach devas the demigods, persons rajas will associate with yaksha abodes, the persons following evil tamas will associate with dead spirits and poltergeist. The desirous persons with lustful desire would disregard the divine injunctions without fear, they would offer gory sacrifices in evil fire, they would be attracted to pompous displays egoistic ire. The persons who perform fierce penance, by painful exertions and improper means, they put the divine Atman residing within, in the name of penance to undue torture and pain. Even the food eaten on the earth, threefold division by the power nature hath, sacrifice, charity and penance also take, three types of divisions as per nature's stack. Sattva food leads to health and good mood, happiness and affection also grow wood, mixing solid and liquid in the right proportion, those eating sattva food will enjoy good emotions. Persons of Raja's tendency eat food that is bitter, sour, dry and extremely hot, charred, fiery hot and thirst-inducing dry food, by its effect sadness, sorrow and restlessness would be induced. Stale, deteriorated, tasteless food, unclean, unwholesome also be it would, persons who eat such food daily, are those possessing tamas tendency very clearly. As per the rules and the norms following the means, the sacrifice performed without expecting any returns, taking it as the duty and performing the same with sincerity, is the sacrifice of blemish-free purity. Executed only for the results of sacrifice, exhibiting many flashing scenes for self-praise, sacrifice performed for name's sake alone, understand it as the one befitting Raja's person. Violating all rules and norms, without sharing the sacrificial offerings, without uttering the proper hymns, without charity is tamas sacrifice adopting improper means. Worshipping the devas, the guru and the befitting ones, cleanliness, self-restraint and celibate persons, non-violence to other being, constitute the physical sacrificing. Speaking words which do not hurt but offer comfort, speaking the truth and speaking in manner polite, reciting the righteous hymns daily, constitute the sacrifice performed verbally. Purity of mind, honest ways refined, silence, control of the mind, heart filled with thoughts very good, constitute the sacrifice with mind performed. To take the God as ultimate refuge with sincerity, humans have penances divided into the Trinity. The sacrifice performed without seeking benefit, is the supreme penance by sattva tendency and is the best. Performing elaborate rituals for display, performing penance for pride alone greatly, such sacrifice belongs to Raja's tendency, there is nothing good in this sacrifice. The sacrifice performed by torturing the Atman within, by putting oneself to undue strain, aiming to inflict distress to others, is the sacrifice born of tamas tendencies ill tethers. The charity offered at the right time, considering the duty and context alone, offered benignly without expectation, is the charity performed with sattva intonation. When offering something in the name of charity, vying to obtain something else in multiplicity, full of hesitations and doubtful in charitable intention, such sacrifice is made under Raja's condition. Offered at the wrong place and time, to a person unworthy any charity to claim, without respect and with demeaning mindset, the charity offered belongs to tamas root. The identity of the Supreme Brahman is the syllable Om Tat Sat in common. This denotes the Supreme Brahman's worship, this is seed of Vedic sacrifice and in meaning very deep. The single syllable Om denotes sacrifice, charity and penance in summary connotes, it becomes the benign opening, for those to reach Brahman aspiring. Uttering the syllable Tat with charitable intention, renouncing the fruits of penance and sacrifice with benign intonation, and the fruits of charity and other righteous action, is the right attitude to attain divine realization. The syllable Sat denotes the Supreme Brahman, meditating on its meaning leads to benign acumen, it is befitting to perform each good action, with the syllable Sat in sweet recitation. While initiating sacrifice, penance or charity, uttering Sat brings good for surety. While performing actions Tat is the utterance, combining it with Sat is leads to spiritual deliverance. Charity offered without sincerity, penance performed without faith in divinity, always fall down with alarming rapidity, never do those ill actions mean anything good pretty. 18. Moksha Sannyasa Yoga, Arjuna. I wish to know the true meaning of sannyasa or renunciation, I shall be greatly benefited by its enunciation. Also explain unselfish sacrifice, O Supreme God who caused demon Keshi's demise. Krishna. Performing actions without desires is the renunciate way of sannyasa adopted by great sires. The sacred ones declare that renouncing fruits of action would constitute renunciate or sannyasa in sense broad. Some great sages say, inaction is the best way. Some others insist the Vedic sacrifices are not to be given up being good practices. I shall explain the types of renunciation. O Arjuna, listen with intense attention. I shall explain the adept persons, who are divided into 3 different versions. Continuing to perform sacrifice, penance, charity, without any laxity is good for attaining purity. Even the greatest person might gain some ascension, by the power charity, sacrifice and penance which offer purification. Keeping the heart disassociated from result, doing the works is recommended without fault. Works carried out as part of duties alone, will bring only the divine grace to shine. One should carry out the daily chores and duties, renouncing them would bring definite impurities. Persons having deluded conscience and ill passion, renounce daily chores by tamas tendencies domination. Persons renouncing duties to avoid hardship, suffer physical conditions tough and fear will rise up. All these are renunciation born of Raja's tendency, they will not bring any good pashay. Performing daily chores as assigned, persons engaging in essential duties naturally defined, are considered sages fully renounced, belonging to sattva category well refined. Without attraction to actions bringing good, without aversion to actions resulting in pain, actions of the person with balanced mind, is renunciation by sattva tendency well refined. Life without any kind of action is impossible for embodied person. Renouncing the results and fruits of action constitutes real renunciation. Action produce results of good and bad, along with result of mixed mode. The results of actions do not cause affliction to a person who has attained perfect renunciation. There are 7 causes for all our actions. Listen with care to the following recitation. The Sankhya Yoga classifies the reasons under 5 broad categorizations. Body is the premise for every action. Ego assumes ownership position. The instruments of action and the means for completion, along with hidden power of God, make up 5 reasons. By means of body, mind and words, whatever great action from a person proceeds, although classified as right and wrong, all of them have 5 causes very strong. Those assuming that all the actions happen by their own strong exertions, know not the real reasons. Delusion induces in their mind confusions. Mind which is free from the ego sense of I, thinking with clarity, confusions to allay, even killing does not affect a person, if there is no result-seeking orientation. Knowledge. Object known and knower constitute the triplet causing actions to shoot, instrument, doer and action performer, the triplet's completion of action 4. Knowledge, action and the doer, the threefold divisions of intention's core. Listen to the division of action, based on 3 tendencies and their interrelation. Understanding that all beings are resided, by one single divine God undivided, without divisions, with many variations, is the result of sattva knowledge in ascension. The delusion knowledge that make one the think, each different body has a different amton is blank. Know this divided knowledge as that, arising from Raja's tendency imperfect. Action performed without knowing, engaging in action without improving, carried out without philosophical understanding, are actions belonging to tamas rising to state of trending. Working without seeking the fruits, not entertaining desirous or aversive of thoughts, the action carried out without seeking result, is categorized under sattva sort. Trying in full earnest to fulfill desire, completing actions with egoistic ire, taking huge effort to complete the action, is said to belong to Raja's categorization. Actions carried out without future considerations, sustaining injuries by self-inflictions, actions performed to cause pain to other hearts, understand them as those of tamas sorts. Renouncing egoistic altercation and trying to attain liberation, relentlessly trying with whole heart for emancipation, without elation in victory and sorrow in defeat, the person working so has sattva tendency replete. Thinking only about results of action, boiling in lust and fuming with jealous intention, working in dirty total condition, is said to work with Raja's intonation. Without proper means and desirous of objects, dominated by arrogance, deceit and words spuming hurts, lazily inactive and speaking bad words, such a worker belongs to tamas sorts. By the division of the state of mind and calmness, I shall reveal the 3 types of steadiness. I shall tell you all differences in detail, born from the tendencies of nature they entail. Ability understand the paths of growth and fall, befitting actions and actions permitted not at all, fear, fearlessness, bondage and liberation, discriminative understanding belongs to sattva section. Inability to discriminate right path and wrong paths, inability to determine befitting and shunned acts, delusional understanding of partial fact, such a person has understanding of Raja's sort. Unable to discriminate the right and wrong ways, mind fully surrounded by tamas overlays, making out meanings only in wrong sense, the ignorant-minded have tamas in their essence. By the rising of strong intention, abiding always in yogic action, mind and senses subsided to peaceful inaction, controlling the senses is sattva determination. Using the rightful paths to fulfill desire's intention, combining action with profit motivation, the intention desirous of reaping results, belongs to determination tamas with many basic faults. Dream, fear, immeasurable sorrow, ego and arrogance rising in a row, without liberation, with wasteful intention, such a person is said to possess tamas determination. The happiness enjoyed by human beings is also classified under 3 different schemes. By continuous practice for a long time, it helps to win over all types of disdain. Bitter at beginning like the poison, in the end tasting very sweet and nectarine. Understand the result of the purity of Atman, abide in peace and clarity inside your mind. The happiness enjoyed through sensual means, are sweet initially as it begins, it acquires bitterness like the poison, and is the happiness with Raj's intonation. Being evil from beginning to end, trying to derive happiness without association of Atman the kind, sleep, laziness, evil imagination, are the hallmarks happiness derived by tamas association. Whether the people of this earth and devas of the heaven, all beings born in this world may attain liberation through sattva path, they can surpass the triple tendencies forthwith. I shall relate the divisions by profession, Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaisyas and Sudras by detailed explanation. Divisions born of the triplet of tendencies, on the people occupying having different proficiencies. Silence, self-control, meditative penance, cleanliness, peace of mind, activities of pure heart well refined, spiritual wisdom, scientific knowledge, worship of God, are the characteristics of Brahman creed. Diligence, bravery, power, determination, talent in warfare, not shying away from difficult situation, charity to others, leadership for ruler, are the characteristics of Kshatriya of valor. Agriculture, animal husbandry, trading for gain, wealth accumulation are the characteristics of Vaisya clan. Performing tasks demanding designs, is the working style by which the sutra shines. Each one might engage in one's natural profession, and reach the state of divine perfection. I shall relate how a person may liberation attain, by performing work in one's own domain. The person from whom all beings emanate, the person who in all objects does pervade, worshipping that great person, people can attain total liberation. Performing one's own duty with hiccups is better than performing others' duty however diligently, which is fraught with fear. Even earning disrepute in one's own duty is better than performing other ones perfectly. Some little mistakes occur in every work. It is natural to commit some little mistake while working quick. Although containing several mistakes, it is better to perform one's assigned task. Without desire for any object, turning the mind to the Atman as the only subject, the strength to perform desireless action, is called true renunciation. Realizing me as the blissful Brahman, take me as the single haven, I shall summarize the essence for you, the meditation and penance to reach divine hue. Trying using right means and pure heart, practicing unswerving determination to attain God's rampart, renouncing the senses like hearing, discarding desire and aversion without fearing. Eating little food and preferring to seclude, mind, speech and body restrained, immersing daily in intense meditation, if that person maintains steady disposition. Ego, quarrel without purpose, false pride, desire, anger, attachment to objects without taking anything as one's own, such person has already reached the state of Brahman. Those who have attained oneness with the Brahman, without worrying or desiring for any other attainment, being equally disposed to every living being, reaches me alone in by constant thinking. One might understand me through devotion, at the outset one would understand philosophical essence, then the same is realized by experience that the philosophy transcends, thereafter there are only blissful currents. Although eternally active, they get my full protection, and my grace is showered for liberation. Such a sage is my sweetest person, and will enter my abode without recession. Performing all actions with brilliant mind, renouncing everything and worshipping me with devotion refined, attaining yoga by divine knowledge, that person remembers me with heart very kind. You will forget all sorrow by remembering me, you will reach me as my own grace does decree. If one gets egoistic thoughts contrary to this, everything in life such a person will miss. If you maintain egoistic arrogance, and refuse to engage in the fighting actions, you will not stay away from the fighting, but be pulled into the fight without you intending. Disregarding the action natural to your tendency, if you from the battlefield flee, you cannot resist your mind's pulling, you will enter again into this field for killing. Aishwara appears as all nature and every being, Aishwara sits at the heart of everything living, he makes the nature to the mode of working, for all living beings to be born multiply by forking. Surrender to the divine Lord Aishwara, surrender without even a single strand to different direction draw. You would get deepest peace of mind, and eternal abode of Aishwara who is very very kind. I have revealed the supreme wisdom thus, the deepest secret to you did I profess, I have given the facts variously expounded, you realize all the facts you wanted. Learn the secret of secrets, beyond any human ambits, since you are my friend and devotee, learn this truth very pretty. You remember me always and become my devotee, become my beloved and worship me without reprieve, you will surely reach me my friend, I have given you this assurance as the boon so grand. Avoid all forms of ritualistic worship, surrender to me as if I were the lifeboat to grip. destroying even the tiniest sin, I shall offer you deliverance as close devotee of mine. Never reveal this wonderful fact to the persons devoted to me, not to the persons who have against me jealousy and wrath, to persons who are not treading the spiritual path. I have revealed the supreme secret. Share among persons to me devoted. They will also follow this path with due faith. They will gradually attain me through this path. Persons who carry out my works with total devotion for other people's benefits, such devotee is the closest to me among those living on this earth as sweet devotee. Whosoever learns this boundless wisdom by reading, speaking and listening with devotion is considered to be engaged in penance of knowledge. Such a person is considered to be descendant of my own lineage. Persons with sincere heart, jealousy from mind driven apart, whosoever listens lives in divine worlds. After enjoying goodness, pure divine wisdom will they hold. Have you listened to all the facts revealed? Are you now with divine knowledge filled? Are all the confusions born of delusions gone away from your mind's bastions? Arjuna. All my confusions are now gone away, my mind is now brimming with happiness gay. I stand firm in front of you, Krishna. I have decided to fight this fierce war. Sanjaya. The discussion between Krishna and Arjuna, regarding divine wisdom inspiring awe, gives the mind a happy fodder, makes my body in wonder to shudder. By the divine vision offered by sage Vyasa, the Lord of Yoga teaching yoga I saw. This secret of secrets gives delight, enhances mind's thoughts to new height. As the discussion between two friends, with sweet overtones it trends, again and again rising in the mind, it helps to gain unlimited bliss refined. The divine form seldom to be envisioned, stays firm and brings glee to the mind. Awe and happiness stay firm in the heart, open up my heart and I am very happy for my part. Wherever the great yogi Krishna is, wherever Arjuna wielding Kandapa bow stands in ease, there will all happiness and goodness sow their seed, their victory, opulence and justice will have stayed.